always makes me laugh when we get to that John clip of just like throwing the bottle down basically on his microphone or his table. But what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Boys the Big Apple podcast on another Monday, the last Monday of June, which, wow, we're almost in July already. Time is passing by. And also, by the way, I just want to remark that at the end of July, at least I believe it's July 30th or August 1st is the 1 year anniversary of Angry John's first appearance on the channel, which he looks a little bit different. But anyway, got a lot to talk about tonight, as we'll be having Spiro, aka Mr. Glass Half Full, from the New York Revival show on at 8:30. He's going to be talking about the Mets, maybe a little bit about the Rangers. Shout outs to Sunil and Jacob in the chat. Like it up, people. Do the usual. Sunil says, "What's up, boys?" Jacob says, "What's up, brothers? Feeble Mets." Whoa, Alex with a Rangers hat on. That's a curveball. Yeah, I mean, I own Rangers apparel. I mean, I'm trying to get into them. Like, I'm trying to get more into basketball and whatnot. But hey, listen, I have Rangers apparel. I try, whatever. But before we get to you know what? I think we should have a little thing now. I think we should have a thing. I think we should call our segments, like, in one big thing, Professor Angry John's lesson plan. I think that might be something to mark down. But anyway, I'm going to shut up. Shouts to Brad. Shout-outs to Daniel Berry Sports. He's back to Brad's comment. He goes, "Hey, curse Luca in the feeble one." So I'll go to John first, and I'll go to Luca.
Well, I'm assuming you're the curse, Alex, just by that comment. But what's up, everyone? As Alex said, yes, time is flying. It feels like I'm aging about 5 years after every Mets game I watch, who are surprisingly having a 1-0 lead. But I've learned that doesn't really matter, especially with this manager and bullpen. As you know, yesterday we said we had a lot to say on both our baseball teams. I had plenty to say on the Mets, and I don't think I'm done. I mean, I'm sure in the next 10, 20, 30 minutes, they'll give me something else to complain about. So, nevertheless, we also have, as Alex announced, our guest tonight. So I can't wait to have that. And also, guys, make sure you're there for the Friday show for the NBA offseason talk.
It's going to be a big one. Sunil and Armand with 2 new comments. Sunil says, "Professor Angry John DeBico should be the name of an Angry Birds character." Armand says, "Hey, guys, and Buck in the Pen will blow the game tonight. Just watch."
That's right.
See, Armand's on the
Armand's
same
correct.
amount of, he's on the same amount of pessimism. Angry Armand. There might need to be something now. And Brad says, "Angry John died. Now he's just feeble."
I disagree with that one.
Angry John's just Angry John. So, or you could say feeble Angry John, or whatever the case is. Shouts to Jetsos Mess in the chat. Luker, what's going on?
I would like to be addressed by my real name, and I would also like if that weird name was changed on the graphic to Luca, because that's my name. My name is Luca, not Luker. But anyways, to all in the chat, thank you, everybody, for being here, especially on this Monday night. We are 1 episode away from episode 100 of the Boys in the Big Apple podcast. That was started about shortly 2 years ago. So, obviously, thank you all for being here on this Monday night, supporting the Big Blue in the Bronx channel. Obviously, we got a loaded week for you, loaded next 2 weeks, should I say. Yankees coming off a series win, the Mets coming off a series collapse, which they still haven't won a series in June. I'll get to talk about that with John and Mr. Glass Half Full. We'll do some off-season talk regarding the NBA a little bit, not too much. We'll manage the Knicks roster, which we could do on Spot Track. We're going to give some draft grades out, and that's pretty much that. Obviously, just John said, don't miss the Friday show.
Wait, I'm sorry. I just saw the funniest thing. So Danny Vogelback had an awful strikeout, and the ball went behind the catcher, and the throw by the catcher to first was so bad that Vogelback actually beat it out. It's hysterical.
Okay, so it's actually something good, kind of, for the Mets. So, but yeah, Jacob, obviously that was just on the pass reaction. Angry John, take off the Revis Islanders.
No.
The Jets are trash, even with Karen Rodgers.
And yours is trash with Daiquiri Prescott. Your cowgirls.
Hey, Feeble, the Mets can score. The Yankees couldn't score with a prostitute. That's going to be a starred comment, Brad. That was pretty good. And then also Pete, Jigga, and Hector just announced the after party. Yes, all three of us, at least that I know, will be at that after party. I think it's called Sucker Punch Sports Bar. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So, like John kind of suggested yesterday, before we go into the actual baseball topic, who says another immaculate grid? Okay, so we're gonna share the screen. Okay, all right. So, all right, here's what we got today. We got 9 guesses. Wow, so it's a loaded list a little bit. Okay. I'll take recommendations from the chat. I'll also take recommendations from the panel. Now
time out? Can we call this our warm-up exercise?
Yes, our warm-up exercise. Now, for the Brewers, would it be Robin Yount?
A Hall of Famer? Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna type in Robin Yount, and hopefully we're correct.
All right. For the what's it called? My God. For the what is so it's Hall of Fame. Would for the White Sox, would it be Frank Thomas? He's in the Hall
You could
of
do
Fame,
Frank
right?
Thomas. Again,
Thomas?
It's pretty much any name you could throw out there.
Yeah.
Frank Thomas.
Okay.
We got a suggestion from the chat. Sunil says LAD and the Sox, Paul Konerko.
Did Konerko play in the Dodgers? Wow.
Konerko started with the Dodgers and then went to the White Sox.
Okay. With the White Sox Yankees, is Carlos Rodon technically a
You could throw a lot of names out there. You could throw out Todd Frazier,
Jose Contreras,
Tommy Kahnle,
El Duque.
Didn't Melky Cabrera play on both too?
Okay. I believe Cabrera did, yes.
Mm-hmm,
I think I'll go with El Duque.
El Duque, okay.
All right. Let's see. That. All right, so that's what 2%. I guess that's 2% of the people.
Armin's got a good suggestion.
Armin says
CC.
That's a good one. Thank you, Armin. That is a good one. I like doing these. All right, that's correct. Now we got
all the 3,000 career strikeouts. We also got the Brewers Dodgers.
I have 2 guesses for, and I'm not going to cheat on this one. I have 2 legitimate guesses for 3,000 career for the Dodgers. I have either Clayton Kershaw or Fernando Valenzuela.
No. You are missing the completely obvious one, Alex, and that one is Sandy Koufax.
All right. Well, I was thinking out of the box. Okay. Wrong.
How is it not Koufax?
Oh no, he didn't. He didn't get 3,000. That's right.
Nice job, Luca.
No,
I mean it's the most famous Dodger pitcher of all time.
No, but he didn't have the.
No. I agree with you. I know. I'm just saying it's a guess. It's a guess.
Right. For Yankees in 3,000, could we put? Did Roger Clemens hit 3,000? Right.
Yes, he did. I believe he was with the Yankees as well.
Mm-hmm.
Go with Roger Clemens.
The Rocket.
Roger Clemens is correct. Oral Hershiser, Armin says.
We only have 2 guesses left. We can only do 2 out of 3.
So that Hershiser would be for the 3,000 because of Luker. So that could be for the Dodgers at 3,000. Oral Hershiser. So do you think we should do that?
We'll put that one in.
Oh, it's wrong.
Oh.
Armin's wrong.
Oh, damn. We're not going to get the immaculate grid today. That's okay. For the Dodgers Brewers, did Yasmani Grandal play for both? Or am I thinking of...
I think he did.
I think play for both, yeah.
I could check. Should I check or should I not?
I mean, I'm pretty sure he did. I'm going to look on my end. Pretty sure he did.
I think he did.
Dodgers, Brewers. Yeah, he played for both.
Yeah. All right. That's a one for me.
Yasmani Grandal. So we did get it. Okay. So obviously Luker messed us up a little bit.
Armand as well.
That's okay. Well,
listen, Armand was a good guess.
We're gonna get better at this. We're gonna get better. We're gonna do these every time. And you know what? We'll do other sports too, but we're gonna get better with our trivia because that's what we have to do.
Question is just why is it only baseball?
I'm just like apparently somebody said in chat yesterday like it's more than that, but I don't know. I guess not. Of course I'm wrong. I'm a Mets fan, says Armand. Well, I mean, I don't know. John Ellis, you crushing Florida. LA
Yeah, I've been
3,000
checking.
strikeouts. Don
I've been checking,
Drysdale,
Jacob. I've been
3,000
checking.
for Yankees.
Yep.
Brewers, why CC Sabathia. Voit, Voit could have been another one. Vogelback gets 10 Big Macs for getting to first base.
He should.
And can you verify this?
Vogel. I mean, you know what? Luca, do you remember the video we played? Of Danny Berger.
Yeah.
We got you know what? Every time he does good, we'll play that video, and every time he doesn't, it's the Weeble Wobble image.
Sunil, I actually fact checked with Don Drysdale. He actually hit only 2,486 strikeouts. He was short of 3,000 by about 6,000.
Who was that guy that hit that
600.
many strikeouts?
I'll check Valenzuela.
No, I looked that up.
Okay.
Neither did Kershaw.
Dodgers pitcher with 3,000 strikeouts. The answer would be
Kershaw's one of them.
I don't think Kershaw hit that yet.
Don Sutton.
Who?
Okay.
Don Sutton from the 70s.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Is he the only one?
I'll double check. I mean, I'll double check Kershaw as well. I doubt he hit 3,000, but I could always be wrong. Kershaw, he's close. He's about 90 away.
Okay, so he's got to try really hard. Really, really hard. Let's see. Mets bullpen couldn't hold a wet dream, says Mr. Brad.
Brad, I agree with you. You're on fire tonight, Brad. You're on fire, my man.
John, you mad at Beatty for the error yesterday?
Jacob, I'm so glad you asked that because we're going to get into that in a little bit. We're going to save that question. We're going to star it. We are going to get back to you when the Mets comes up because I got a whole thing for the Mets. Don't worry.
You know what, John? I think you could start a little bit early with that because we have Mr. Glass half full in the building.
What's going on, fellas?
What is up, man?
How we doing? Wish I could say things were better, but my sports teams have got me in this hole right now. But we're living, man. 4th of July is coming up. I'm happy, man. It's a good time of the year. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Could be better.
Yeah, I hear you, fellas. I hear you.
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
Jets fan over here. What are your thoughts on the news today? About you guys being stars at HBO? Did you hear? Your Hard Knocks?
You're not thrilled, are you?
Like,
it's tough.
They already did it once, and ironically, they had a pretty good season then.
Hey, history repeats itself, right?
I want history to change a little bit, but
I hear you on that.
I don't know. I mean, as long as it doesn't distract them, I don't care. I really don't care.
Hey, man, it's tough. Yeah, I always I want to see behind the scenes what's going on, but at the same time, I don't want the team to be bothered. So it's that catch-22, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Exactly. Luca, what are your thoughts on the Hard Knock stuff?
I don't hate it as much as other fans do. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be shown to a national TV audience. I'm not trying to compare like primetime games as much as we're going to have this year to Hard Knocks because they're two different separate entities, but it's a national audience kind of thing. And kind of with Aaron Rodgers, you were kind of going to expect that. So, and also there's this one theory. I found this hilarious. I'm sorry to interrupt anybody who was talking. Somebody actually went out on their podcast as of recent. This is a hot take, by the way. Well, the person who made it was a hot take, and it was a stupid hot take. They suggested the Jets tanked last year to get on Hard Knocks this year.
What?
That's a new one.
That's a new
one. That's a new one.
Not a joke.
The team hasn't been to the playoffs since 2010. I think that's what happens with the fan base. Largest playoff drought in major sports right now?
Yeah, it's tough.
That is correct.
No, listen. For our podcast, we hope that and your podcast, I'm sure, like we all hope the Jets, and Giants are both relevant. It makes the season more fun, man. I used to hate the Jets when I was younger because all my buddies used to be, they used to mess around with me, and we used to talk some shit back and forth. But sorry, can I
No,
drop
you're
S-bombs
good.
here?
You're good.
Okay. But now I root for New York, success, so we can go back and forth. I like going back and forth with Jets fans. It's fun. So, I wish the Yankees and Mets were giving us a good summer to lead us into it, but here we are.
If this is a sign of football season in terms of what it's going to be like, I want absolutely no part of it.
My God, please no, man. I can't handle any more disappointment. Like I was thinking to myself the other day, like I've had so many times where I thought my teams are going to take that next step and like go on a prolonged run and have a couple years of success, and every single time, man, it's like the next year I expect success. Reality smacks me right back in my face, and it's been since the early 2000s with the Giants. But man, I'm hoping that somebody like if the Giants or like the Rangers, could get a little bit of a run here and give me some joy for more than 1 year at a time. That'd be nice, right?
Yeah, it really would. It really would. I think New York needs it. 12 years of no playoffs. Please end the pain, says Armin the Jets fan. What up? Booyah. I need some fun to go with my therapy. Mets outfield couldn't catch a cold. Sutton was also on the 1988 team that beat Feeble John's Mutts, as Sunil said.
I think he meant Mutts, not Muta.
Yeah, I don't particularly know what that means, but John, I know you got some interesting things to say about your New York Mets.
Well, I'll be very kind and go back to Jacob's question of asking me if I'm mad at Brett Beatty yesterday. And you know what? I would be mad at anyone that makes that kind of error, but I want you to notice the difference between a kid and our manager who's been around pretty much this game for almost, 30 plus years, I'd say, maybe more. Brett Beatty held himself accountable, said the loss was on him. They're not even what's it called? He didn't blame anything else. Buck Showalter doubled down on his move to not bring in David Robertson in that 8th inning yesterday. A guy who has only pitched twice in the past 10 days. So it's not like his arm is dead. It's not dead. He went with Walker, Jeff Brigham. He used Dominic Leone in yesterday's game. He used everyone that was awful. And I know this general manager doesn't know what he's doing. I get that. I get he's built a horrible bullpen. I understand he doesn't know what a designated hitter is. I get it. But enough is enough at some point. And Buck Showalter, the fact that he did not take any accountability shows you what kind of manager he is. And he does not deserve another day in this organization. And now neither does the general manager. Almost every move he's made is pretty much backfired. And I'm sure you agree too. I mean,
yeah.
It just, you think you're at the lowest point, and then they set the bar even lower. Like
the Jets and Mets do that, right?
They do. And I'm watching this game right now, and I understand they're up 1-0. Matt Riley telling me they're back. No, they're not back. They're 8.5 back of the wild card. That's what they're back of. And you know what? Whether it's the starting pitching that doesn't give us good outings, failing to go more than 5 innings, which is laughable. Whether it's the bullpen that constantly blows games, whether it's the unclutch hitting, you got outfielders that can't catch fly balls. You got guys making errors on the base paths. I'm tired of it. I can't sit here. The only reason I watch now is to give you guys knowledge and wisdom, but I can't watch for enjoyment anymore.
No,
it's too much.
It's rough. It's rough watching these guys, man. Like like you said, it's just a mark of a bad team. If the pitching's doing well, the hitting isn't. If the pitching does well, the bullpen blows it, and then the hitting does well, the pitch. It's just a constant circle. Buck pressed all the right buttons last year. I don't know, and then he's managing to press all the wrong buttons this year, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild to watch such a crazy turnaround so quickly, and who could have saw it coming when you get a 38 and 39-year-old as your aces, and one of the oldest teams in the whole league. I mean, listen, it is what it is. they did what they had to do, right?
And I also want to say that like I said, I understand that this pitching is not good enough. And I know Buck can't control how good and bad these guys are. That falls on the GM Epler, who is not by any means absolved from this embarrassment of not winning any series in June, which is outright horrible in its own. Because, like I said yesterday, you want to look at some. I gave you guys the stat. Not one of those guys in the bullpen from yesterday was on the opening day roster. Not one guy. So you know how bad it was constructed from the start. Because Billy Epler is either calling up guys that aren't ready. He's making trades for Eliezer Hernandez and Jeff Brigham, who own his own division. I said it yesterday. They were in their own division. Two guys that are probably going to be DFA'd, and he traded for them.
Wow.
What is he doing?
He's good at spending money. That's all he could do. He can spend money.
I mean, he messed up last year's deadline. I mean, he gave up Davis and prospects for Darren Ruff.
And then we dropped him before the season started.
he gave up Colin Holderman for Danny Vogelback. And the worst part is Danny Vogelback's still playing, and you have Vientos who's ripping it in AAA.
Yeah, wasting away in AAA. He's got nothing left to prove there. It's truly amazing. Like, you know what? Listen, you're right. If you fire Buck, the pitching doesn't get better. You know, you listed the names. The problem is, like you said, it works off each other though. Like the pitching goes 4 innings, and we are constantly using the worst part of our bullpen every game. So of course, it's gonna turn into a mess every single game, and it has. But man, have a little feel there. Put Robertson in. You have a chance to steal a series and change the momentum of what is a tanking season. Put your best guy in there. He was ready to go, and then he just sticks it to us by bringing him up the next inning and warming him up. Like, come on, man. Like, at least do us the dignity of not even bringing him, warming him up at that point. Let him sit the whole game. You let the game get away from you in the 8th. It just have that feel, Buck.
I agree. I mean, not only the feel, the urgency. They haven't won a series since 2 Phillies series ago. Not yesterday's. 2 series ago against the Phillies. They've had a whole month. It's June 26th. They don't have a series win. It's bad. It's horrible. And I do want to ask, because now I think me and you can agree that, with the Mets, they need to just get whatever they can for guys they know that's not going to be part of this future, because they're not clawing any race back. Anyone that wants to sell you a bill of goods, a bill of whatever, to try and convince you that this team is going anywhere, this iteration of the team is not. And they're going to have to look to 2024 because it's a lost season. In June, I'm saying this.
Yes.
But
sad. Sure.
I want to know, in your opinion, guys that should go, what they should be looking for, all that stuff.
I mean, listen, Luca, if you got something to say,
I was just going to say something. I was going to say something real quick. I've mentioned this to John twice, or at least a couple of times, and I'm going to say it to you. There's 2 things I'd like to say, and that is, number one, the Mets have a $300 million payroll plus, right? They use their assets on bullpen like they have a $50 million payroll. I'm not saying you should be spending $100 million plus in the bullpen. You already spent money on Edwin Diaz, giving him that mega extension. Obviously, the injury was circumstantial. Nobody knew it was going to happen. And David Robertson was already a good signing. But again, there's a bunch of no names in the bullpen. There's a lot of guys in your pen. It's not even just young guys, as John was saying. There are guys who have been sifted around, tossed and turned around from organization to organization. Dominic Leone is one of them. Tommy Hunter was one one of them. I'm sure there's other. Josh Walker, bring him all these different guys. Hartwig, all these different guys. It's not like you guys have young prospects to say, you know what, we're calling this guy up. He's one of our top bullpen prospects. But the other thing I was going to note, and this was with Epler as well, I was very skeptical of the Mets originally hiring Epler, and this was one of the reasons why, and the main reason why is because he cannot find pitching. Those Angels offenses, you go back to 2014. That was the last time the Angels made the playoffs. Epler was not even close to there yet. 2019, obviously he gets Shohei Ohtani. That's a grand slam. Obviously, one of the best, obviously top 2 in baseball. But he could not build around Mike Trout. He could not build around Shohei Ohtani with applicable starting pitching. I think his biggest signing, no joke, was Dylan Bundy.
That's wild. That's wild. That's the name that you come up with, but you're not wrong. I mean, listen, again, like I said, he's good at spending money. He went out and got the best guy in the market in Max Scherzer, best guy in the market in Justin Verlander. Yeah, the 38, 39, whatever. But he could spend money, but he's not good at developing talent. He's not good at finding diamonds in the rough. And you can't just buy stars and just like hope for the best. You know, it leaves certain parts of the team, like the underbelly of the bullpen that right now in a bad spot when you're just looking at stars and spending money on the big things. You gotta see, you know, you gotta make a complete team, and he hasn't done that. And listen, I would be all for firing them right now, but we all know that Epler and Buck are going to be there till the end of the season. I hate to say it, but if Epler fires Buck, then he's admitting that he's made a mistake, and so he's not going to do that. And I don't think Cohen's going to fire Epler mid-season this quickly.
Right.
It seems like they're all like just like ho hum, which pisses me off even more, to be honest with you. They're like, you know what, you know, it is what it is, and we're not going to fire anybody. I want some blood. I want some blood. They've it's the worst team money could buy right now. Fire somebody, man. Like, give us our pound of flesh, the fans at least. So I don't know. I'm pissed off, but listen, you trade who you got to trade. If someone is willing to take a Justin Verlander or a Max Scherzer, you trade them. Robertson, I think, is going to bring back the best hole for you, because you need a good, sturdy 38-year-old that could pitch in the playoffs, has done it before. Everybody's going to be looking for him. You know, who else? Like Narvaez, another name that should go. The other catcher. Let our boy Alvarez get all the at bats at catcher. Anybody that is worth a damn, you gotta make the move at this point. You gotta make the move, and somebody that's not going to be there within the next 2 years or beyond, they're on the chopping block. Anybody that can bring stuff, and you try to do a quick rebuild, because they're still they can't trade some of these guys like Alonso, McNeil, Nimmo, Lindor, Beatty. They still got a little core there, so you're gonna have to try and do a quick rebuild while building the farm system. And Uncle Steve's got to spend some more money next year until we figure out this farm system. Man.
You know what? And you bring up with Scherzer and Verlander the starting pitching, and everyone goes after them. But I have to say, it's not only them. I mean, the back end is just as bad. I mean, Carrasco yesterday. Can he be DFA'd already?
They're waiting for Quintana to come back.
I understand that, but how much longer can I see Carrasco last till the third, fourth inning?
Well, they were hoping that McGill, Carrasco, or Peterson, one of the three, were going to come show something, and they've all failed miserably.
They've all been a disaster, and it's like, you know, it's kind of an indictment on Hefner, the pitching coach.
Yep,
I mean, they've all regressed so horribly. I mean, I can't advocate for one of those three. I'm not talking about all three. I can't advocate for any of them. I mean, Senga's okay. I think he just needs to learn control. Yeah. So I can understand that. I can understand that. He's also, you know, in the Japanese league, they rest. It's not usually a 5-man rotation. I think it's a 6 or 7 day. Mm-hmm. So that's something he's got to get used to coming over to America. I can understand that more, but like these guys that have been here, these guys that have, you know, that have talent that just, they can't do anything, man.
Yeah. I read an article today. It said, you know, what are these guys doing wrong? And I think it was Hefner that said, like, they just can't make their best pitches. I was like, so what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing? Like McGill can't throw his fastball and Peterson can't throw his slider. Your best pitches, you've lost touch of them. What are we doing, Hef? What are we doing here, bro?
You're right. They don't throw for strikes. They give, and when they do throw for strikes, you know it's a homer.
It's getting smacked around. Yeah.
I mean, they don't know how to locate it. So.
Well, I found this good stat today because I was racking my mind. I was like, we've scored. This lineup has started to come around a little bit. So it's like, I know we're scoring runs. Last year, the Mets lost 8 games total when scoring 4+ runs, which is, you know, pretty fantastic. I'll say it's almost even above normal. But juxtapose that to this year. They've lost 19 games already. And we're not even July when scoring 4+ runs. 19, dude. That if that's not the season in a nutshell,
They've-
in one stat, man.
You're right.
I
No,
feel-
they've lost 12 scoring 6 or more. I said it yesterday.
It's wild.
It's horrible.
And when the offense has an off night, when the offense, is doing well, the pitching's doing bad, and you flip it. Like when the pitching's doing great, the offense no shows like they are tonight. It's 1-0. They can't score a run. It's
No,
just
you're right. It's bad.
Vicious cycle.
I also got to ask Mr. Glass Half Full because I saw this recently, and John says it makes no sense.
Oh, there he is.
Yep. I was going to ask you because Andy Martino put this out, and you guys are obviously talking about the direction of the team. You guys are looking to sell probably at the deadline. It makes the most sense because you guys are so far down the hole right now. I read a report from Martino that you guys would be willing to take a bad contract or two. Does it make any sense? Because I don't think it does.
Listen, they're just trying to take. I guess they're just trying to do reclamation projects and maybe get a prospect along with it. Like if you're getting if you're taking on somebody's bad contract. Now I'm assuming because I saw the post, but I didn't read the article. I'm only assuming that they are going to take some money off their hands with a bad contract and maybe get a prospect in return for this as well to take on that bad contract because we're way beyond the tax threshold regardless. So Steve Cohen doesn't believe in money. He doesn't care about taking on the bad contract. So he's like, all right, let me take on Corbin from Washington. Maybe we get a reclamation project with him. Maybe not, but I'm paying for his salary, and maybe I get their 6th ranked prospect as well, or something like that.
Or their relief pitchers.
Right, or relief
that's
pitchers
what the article
somewhere.
was saying, to go after quality relievers. I don't mind doing that, but at the same time, those guys are, they're almost DFA candidates just because you're taking off the bad hit. Like, do I really want Patrick Corbin thrown out there every 5th day? No.
No, but you do it for the help somewhere else.
I understand that. I'm not advocating they do that. I like the I gave a bunch of guys yesterday that they can go acquire and that they could sign in the offseason because I'm already looking ahead at that. I have no use for this season, but
that's a sad state, man. Sad state.
It is, but it's true. It's true.
I see McNeil being traded in the offseason, Armin says.
I wouldn't.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't either if I was a Mets fan.
I wouldn't.
Though
I'll play devil's advocate here.
You were saying?
I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that it's a thought because he's under contract control, former batting title champ, and he could bring some back in return. And I'll only say this because Ronnie Mauricio is their best prospect, and he could play second base.
You see, if they were to get rid of McNeil, then I want like a really good quality starter. Or
for sure, you got to get something great in return.
Like I don't want to just give this guy away for prospects.
Agreed. And I think you can. But here's the thing: if you look at it too, I was having this argument because they put him down the order today. I was like, you know what? If McNeil's not hitting for average, what is he doing for your team, really? Because he doesn't hit home runs. He doesn't got great speed. He doesn't play real good defense. You look at his WAR. I'm not a big into analytics like that, but like he's only like a 2 WAR guy, like 3 of the last 4 seasons, which is middle of the road starter. And I love Squirrel more than the next guy. Like I love the guy. He tries really hard. He's one of the a gritty player. I love him. But if he's not hitting 300 plus. What is he doing for you? Like that's what I love. Like I said, I love the guy. He can play multiple spots, but we're paying a lot of money for him to be a batting champ, and be up there at 300 plus every year. We're at 260 this year. 2 years ago we were at 250. We can't have those seasons.
Then if that's the case, I want all these kids up. I want Vientos. I want Mauricio up. Let them play. Let them play. I don't know why they don't do that now. Let them. God forbid they traded. If they decided to go get rid of McNeil at the deadline. You can get a quality starter. For a team that needs offense, and that has like a glut of pitching. I said it yesterday when I was doing the pre-scouting and whatnot. You know what? The Mariners have a ton of young starters. Go ask for one of them. I'm sure they'd love a guy that could win a batting title.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure. Someone will want him. 100%. Yeah,
someone will definitely take him, and he's got value. Quality guy. Just It's also weird because of the construction of the lineup. Like they're gonna put Nimmo and Marte up there because Nimmo's got a really good on base percentage almost every year, and Marte still one of the fastest guys in the league. And he can hit for contact. He's been very good of recent, actually, at bat. But
he's heating up finally.
Yeah, his bat is back to where it is, and he's still running very good. Couldn't catch a fly ball yesterday, but that's not the. That's nevertheless.
It's always something. It's always something, bro.
It ended up turning into a triple. I'm like, what is this?
And I think that guy it was batting like 100. That like just nobody, and it's like it turns it into a triple. Yeah. Just stupid play. It's so terrible because they didn't make any of these bad mistakes last year. That's what pisses me off.
If they didn't.
If this was a different cast of guys and they're making the mistakes, fine. It's the same players that were making great plays last year, playing fundamental baseball, that are just acting like minor leaguers now. It's wild. It's wild.
I mean, Luca knows how frustrated I was when we did that Mets Astros stream. When in that first inning, we somehow
got the first
inning. Catcher's interference and a base running interference
in the same inning.
Every game, it's something different, right? Every game, something different.
Yeah. Hit two batsmen. It's an indictment on the manager.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, like I compare it to a company. Like you hire a CEO, you think he's the right guy. You give him your chance. He takes your earnings a little bit higher the first year, but the second year it's a disaster. You have to wonder. You expected really high earnings. He came up short of that. Second year, he's not even close to coming. You gave him all the resources he needs, and he's bombing. Would you let that CEO just keep going and keep bombing your company? I don't know. Like I don't know. Where's your leash? So you got to treat it like a company. And right now, our CEO is tanking hard right now. It's tanking hard, and he's got all the resources that he's ever been needed. Like in F1 racing, those guys get cut right off the bat. Like perform or you're out. And I don't think Buck's going to be out this year, but I wouldn't give him much of a leash, man. This is a win now team. You're putting all the money, the most money ever spent in pro sports, into one team.
You're right.
What shocks me, I just want to say, what shocks me is what he said after the Braves series. And obviously everybody knows he said, I'm proud of the guys. Like I'd expect Buck, him being the old school manager he is, as I'm sorry, but the Mets have blown the lead. But anyways, I was gonna say was
Unreal. Drew Smith, baby.
And this is his first game back from the suspension.
Yep.
They knew we were talking about them, and they came right on time. I mean,
I would just like to say this.
This guy doesn't even deserve.
Let him have it.
You can have it. Say thanks.
No.
It's so bad, and it's Weimer again.
It's unbelievable, man. You can't make it up. Why is a guy like that on the roster still? And he's a guy that we thought was going to be a good piece to this bullpen. I just got a friend from my text from my friend. Drew Smith is back. Everybody, didn't waste any time. Didn't waste any time.
Made sure his presence was known. I wonder if he gets booed, but.
I hope that I'm watching on my app right now. Yeah, I'm mute, but I hope they're booing the shit out of him. I'm sorry.
I hope everyone starts getting booed. But anyways, back to the
graveyard.
Back to the conversation as the free falls are losing. I like the Escobar trade. That I forgot there was a comment in there that mentioned it. You get Coleman, Crow, and the other kids is Landon Marceau. Crow is like a top 10 to 15 prospect in our organization. Marceau is more of a 20. I like Crow more just because it looks like that he's got the better stuff, and he was doing better in Double-A before he got hurt a little bit. But Marceau looks like to have better control. But again, just prospects, whether they become back end starters, whether they become bullpen help, get as many guys as you can out of here. Especially on the pitching side, get as many prospects as you can, young players, to build this depth up, because there is absolutely no one in this farm system. It's not even that good of a farm system.
No.
But I mean, position players, we got a few kids. I like obviously Mauricio Vientos. You got Parada down there. You got Alex Ramirez, Jet Williams, all kids that I think have a good future. But you know, in terms of the pitching side, not a whole lot. Which is why I'm advocating, you know, go draft pitchers, go trade for like young pitchers in your farm system. But whether it's like you said, the two front end starters, or whether it's a guy like Robertson, you know, you can throw Tommy Pham, Vogelback, Narvaez, Canna, guys that
There's
you
not
know
many
that
people
are,
that yeah.
you just get whatever you can.
Right.
And let the kids play. And you know what? If you lose, oh well. I don't care if you lose anymore. You're already losing with these guys, so it's not like it's gonna change anything. Now let the kids learn.
Yeah.
I'd rather see a starting lineup with all those kids in there: Alvarez, Vientos, Beatty, and Mauricio. Let them all play.
100%. 100% agree with you, man. Like it's almost that time, and they just again they break your heart in so many ways. If I'm gonna get my heart broken, play the kids. Like play the kids. Let's see what we got with them. Vientos, play him in left field if you have to. Mauricio at second. I don't care. Like find ways to get these guys at bats, and you know it's the only way you're gonna really get people in the stadium. Like nobody's gonna come to the park anymore. It's gonna be a graveyard. Who wants to see a washed up team?
I'm only going when I get free tickets.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not wasting any more money. And the only reason I have tickets right now is because there was a game that was rained out in April. That's in August.
Yeah, right.
I'm getting my free tickets, but other than that, I ain't spending a dime.
Yeah, we were supposed to go, and I actually forgot that I made plans over a Mets game, and I never do that. I'm a guy that's always down. I'm like, let's get to partying. I have it like circled on my calendar. Totally forgot because you know the Mets stink right now, and it's not at the forefront of my mind to waste $200 going to Queens, you know. And,
no, it's
in a game.
It's awful to watch. I mean, we can't even drive the pitch count up of Colin Rea tonight. I want everyone to know Colin Rea is the starting pitcher for the Brewers tonight, and we only scored once, and it's the 6th inning. It's not like we're facing the second coming of Sandy Koufax or Randy Johnson. You know, it's Colin Rea who's going to make us look bad.
It's fantastic.
Unbelievable. Armin says, let the kids play. Shouts to Ron. Sunil says, the Mutts couldn't win a Tide Pod challenge. Colin Rea, 4.66 ERA. Colin Rea pitched in Japan last year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Mutts couldn't win a rigged raffle. That's another one.
They couldn't.
Get Omar from Brooklyn on here. Yes, from the Michael K show. Frank the Tank rant coming. Yep. It's going to be on its way. Told you they blew it. I'm glad I'm not watching. And there's literal proof. I mean, this comment says it right here from, I think it was like 8:12 p.m. The bullpen will go and blow it. You just watch. So
that's what they did. They put Drew Smith in, and he's back in mid-season form, being terrible.
To be fair, we scored one run. We scored one run too. Like it's like this is exactly what bad teams do.
Oh, now they're bringing.
What's
now
going
when
on
they're
now?
losing, they're going to run Adam
Ottavino.
Ottavino.
Adam Ottavino.
Perfect, baby.
The Mets are just a comedy act.
I bet against them tonight. I gotta be honest. I'm more
smart.
profitable betting against the Mets, and I call it a hedge my happiness bet because you know either they win and I'm happy, or they lose and I'm at least making money. So it's been very profitable for me this season. So I'm gonna keep riding that. And man, who knows? It could get real ugly, dude. It could get real ugly.
Well, soon Vegas is going to start catching on, and they're just going to not have good odds for the Mets. They're going to stop putting them.
It's true.
Now let me ask, because I haven't done prop bets in a while. Is Burns or Wade Miley expected to pitch in this series?
I know Burns is not. Wade Miley's might be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but don't worry, the Mets can't hit a lefty either. That's one of the secrets to this team. Anytime, I mean, I know they're not hitting this right-handed pitcher, but anytime a lefty is out there, they just look lost. Some of these guys.
It's a tough watch, man.
It's like they've never seen a guy with a left hand.
Yeah, it's Miley is pitching on Wednesday, and they got old Julio Teheran pitching tomorrow. I didn't
All
even
right,
know he
so
was
I'll
still in
be-
the league.
Yep, they just brought him back. I don't know where he was pitching, but since you guys have told me that the Mets don't hit left-handed pitching, I think I'm gonna bet against them on Wednesday.
Yeah, you're a smart man.
I'm in, brother.
I've should I dare share to the panel what Armin just sent me? It might be a
Oh,
little
God.
dark because of recent events. I'm just gonna put it out.
Does it have
Oh, God.
anything? It has.
Dude,
It
the
probably
submarine.
is submersible. You know what? Go ahead.
Bring
All
it.
right.
Bring it.
Go ahead.
He said
Bring
it in
it.
the chat now. Luca, I TM'd you a pic you could share on chat.
There's the submersible. There's the submersible.
Oh damn!
God.
It's so damn true. We're just
God.
tanking, man. We're going down. We're going down hard, bro.
You guys are so beaten down. I feel bad for you. It's like, again, like, I'm a Jet fan. Obviously, I'm not wearing the Jet stuff right now, but obviously, like, being a Jet fan, if you're not a Met fan, you understand what it's like to be a Mets fan and have your hopes shot down every single season.
No,
It's
you're
brutal.
right. And Armand, your uncle's a very smart and funny guy.
Relatable.
It's I sympathize with all my Jet fan friends, and I'm like, dude, I understand what you're going through. I totally. And the tough combo, and sorry to anybody here that's it's Mets, Jets, Knicks. That's the that's the holy trio
John's.
of sadness.
It's year round.
Yeah, it's just
You know,
brutal, man.
it never
Brutal.
ends. It never ends. Although I'll give the Knicks credit this year. They
did.
pleased me. I'm not mad at them. I won't throw them in the conversation. Okay.
100%. They and like you gotta hope that the Knicks take this and run with it and have again. Can one New York team have some sustained success? Well, Yankees, I would say they've had sustained success, except they haven't got to that next level that you guys want them to get to.
Right.
But man, just give us a championship. It's been too freaking long, man. I'm not even asking for too much anymore. Like somebody go on a run.
No,
and,
that is
and
too much.
I guess it is.
It is.
2009, right? 2009, unless you count soccer. I think the New York, one of the
NYCFC.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Yeah, about 2 years.
Oh well, no, wait. The Giants won in 2011. So
That's
yeah,
right.
sorry,
Right.
2011 was the last one.
Last,
Sorry, you're right. You're
right.
right.
I think that was the
Yeah.
last time. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah. It's
And
been
then-
20 plus years, man. I know that's 11. 10 plus years. It's just ridiculous. And I married into. Excuse this, but I married into a Philly family, so they all give me
God bless your
shit
soul.
because they're like, "How many teams do you guys got? Like, and you guys can't win a championship. You don't even know which one you're rooting for half the time." I was like, shut up, bro. I understand. Like, shut up.
Shut up.
Yeah, like you guys haven't really won. You've won one championship. Take it easy, with the Eagles. Like, you can't talk shit.
I mean, well, what is
it's
it? The last 2 years, two of their major teams lost the championship. Phillies losing the World Series, the Eagles losing the Super Bowl. So I mean,
it's tough. It's tough for them, bro. It's tough. You hate to see it, right? You just hate to see the Philly just squirming for second place. But and then the Sixers blew their 2-0 lead in basketball. So
2-0 lead, 3-2 lead. It doesn't
3-2.
matter when Doc Rivers is your head
3-1.
coach.
Oh God, that's just he's gone. So listen, we can commiserate because again, our New York teams have been on a rough stretch to say the least.
very much a rough stretch, especially New York baseball this year. It's been the battle of the and I see Brad's obviously he was commenting a lot within the last 2 days, and obviously he's been commenting now. I'm gonna get some other comments too about imploding fast in the submarine.
Yeah.
He was after our call-in stream last night. He was commenting after the actual recording was put up, and he was talking about how bad the Yankees were compared to the Mets. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're better, but they're still bad because what was it? IKF couldn't catch a ball on Friday in center field. He thought he was out at second base when he was safe and walked off the bag.
Gleyber Torres ran through a fly out.
Doubled up on Sunday, and we still won the game. So I mean,
Torres seems like he has those brain
yes.
brain busters. Like once a game, he's just like not focused. Like, what are you doing out there, bro? Come on.
And we have
He's
no
too,
options.
he's too busy bringing out the plush stuffed animals all the time.
I couldn't believe that. When I read that on air, I'm like,
I thought you guys were kidding when you said that. I thought it was a joke. I didn't know it was real.
As Pete Simonetti said, the Yankees are a plush organization.
Mm.
What is it? The plush Yankees and the feeble Mets.
Man, it's facts. It hurts.
It really does. Don't worry, the Giants will win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years. I hope so. I mean,
we'll see this year, man. We'll see if we're on the right path this year. Like, the Giants, like, you can have one good year. If you have 2 good years, you're on the right path at that point. So let's see what we got out of Daniel Jones, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, also to note, like, obviously, Spiro will get this because he's a Mets fan. He's also a Giants fan. Does this year for the Mets kind of remind you of like 2017 for the Giants?
Yeah, you could say that 100%. Like, I hope the result is not the same, but like for the Giants, I hope this next go around is better than that 2016-2017 stretch. But it does feel like a total letdown. Like, you're ready. You're like, all right, you're almost like the playoffs are a given because we made it last year. The same rosters here, we're ready to rock, and then they just like implode. A team full of veterans, and the locker room looks like crap. They don't look like they're trying. It feels a lot of good comparison, very good comparison. Feels a lot like, man. It sucks to say. I'm struggling here, man. It's give me some consistency. One of my teams, man. Rangers have been kind of consistent, but man, they flamed out this year. Thought they were going to go on a run. And hey, we'll see. Again, another one. We'll see what direction they're headed this year. They could be right back in the thick of things. Or
can I ask you about the Laviolette hire? I'm really not the biggest fan of it. Can I get your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's fair to not be a huge fan because he's been all around the Metro basically for his whole career. He's 60 years old. He is what he is. Like, but here's I'll give you some pros. I'm gonna because this is my name here.
You're all right.
I try to look at the positive things, right?
Get me a little happy because these Mets are making. I need to be happy about something. I need to convince myself on something.
You got the Jets, but let's the Rangers. Let's talk about the Rangers. I think Laviolette, everywhere he goes, he wins it within the first 2-3 years that he's there. Every single stop he's gone to, save for Washington his last stop. But that's we're win now, right? Like this is what we're trying to do. He's gone to 3 finals in his career, so he knows how to win. He adapts. Because what happened last year in the playoffs? Lindy Ruff changes the team's strategy mid-series, catches Gallant with his pants down. Just Gallant doesn't know what to do. Like, he's never coached before, can't change anything, and the team just doesn't get off the floor after being up 2-0. Laviolette has done every single strategy, every type of he's seen everything through the NHL over his career, and he is adjusted to everything. So that's a guy that's going to adjust on the fly and won't get, like I said, caught with his pants down. Forechecking, that's what he preaches. And the Rangers teams, you could say they've been a little soft over the past couple of years.
Extremely soft.
Yeah.
Extremely.
And we got soft. So he's going to bring some forecheck, a little aggressive style, keep the puck in the other team's zone for once in a while. Gallant just let the players play sometimes, which is fine. If it works, it looks great. And the first year looked great. But when it's not working, you can't just be like, hey, go figure it out, guys. You need some little structure. I think Laviolette brings that, and so, he leans on his best guys. He's going to play Igor all the time. And let's see, man. Like I said, he's won before. At least he's got a track record of success. And that's what I'm going to lean on, and not that he's been bounced around for the past whole career of his. I'm hoping that he finds – Washington was a shit show because the roster stunk and it just didn't live up to, the roster kind of fell apart and he just was a capper on top of that. I'm going to just go with my faith here and hope that he keeps that trend of every first couple of years, every stop he has success.
Well, you know what? I hope you're right. But if I see the same stuff from last year where I see Panarin playing terrible, I mean, this guy didn't score once. He didn't score
Brutal.
once. If we don't get the kids playing, I'm gonna be pissed.
Agreed.
I don't know how many times I have to say it. Put the kids with the skill players and see what they can do.
Mhm.
Again, and get more speed up front. They had
Yes.
none. They had zero speed. Go after speedy wingers. Go after a speedy bottom six. Go after gritty players because they really didn't have that. And it's like it's so hard to watch that because you get out muscled in playoff hockey, you're done. I mean that's a sport where and like football, you don't show up physically, you're not going to win.
Right. Especially
And
in the playoffs, man. Especially in the playoffs.
that's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. And
We'll see.
I know Laviolette is gonna have a system where he's gonna have 3-4 checkers in there. I get it.
Right.
I get it. And he's gonna be more aggressive, fine. But at least be able to play better defense in your own zone too.
Well, that's true.
If he can do that, I'll shut up and say I'm wrong.
I think for the kids, I think the mandate when he's coming in is that you have to make these kids work, right? Like that's your number one job. Make sure Lafreniere comes through, Kakko comes through, and Miller. Make sure that and all these young guys they take the next step. That should be his number one mandate. So I'm hoping that's like he everywhere he's gone. Like in Nashville, he played young guys. It's not like he doesn't play young guys.
Right? No, he did.
Before. Right. So
he's developed
I think
a lot.
he will.
I like that about him. One thing I don't like about him is that everywhere he goes, he'll start good, but the regression gets slowly worse and worse and worse, and it's like, if that happens to us in like 3 years, and I'm like, then why did we hire you?
It's true, but you know what? I think Dolan doesn't give a shit, so he'll spend the money when he needs to get his coach.
Yeah, he's not cheap. He's not cheap.
Yeah, and I think they were honestly. I think the bad side to this is I think Laviolette was their plan B or even plan C. I think they were waiting for Sullivan to shake loose from Pittsburgh.
Oh, I would have loved him.
And when he didn't, they're like, all right, well, we got Laviolette in the bag still, and that's why it took a little longer than you expected. I even think they were waiting for Quinville to see what the ruling was going to be on him. And
I thought that too, but with the scandal that happened, I didn't really know if anyone's really going to sign him because I didn't know if anyone wanted to go through a PR disaster. Just because especially in New York, they're going to ask him, hey, whatever happened in that Chicago city.
Yeah.
That was
100%.
an ugly thing.
I definitely think they're waiting for somebody.
I mean, obviously, John will tell you, glass half full. I'm a casual hockey fan, but I actually got to watch about half of Laviolette's press conference. I got when he was hired, I got my thoughts from John, and there's two things I want to say. Laviolette did bring up you have to adapt to how certain teams play. You can't just play one way. That was one thing I liked because I have a problem with another New York head coach who doesn't adapt, and obviously we could get to that later on. But it's just a general problem because somebody talked about this in the comment chat regarding the NHL. Do you think the NHL has a problem with retread head coaches?
Oh,
yes,
100%.
Yes, I love how Luca, the number one guy besides Sullivan, because at least Sullivan's been a proven winner. He won those cups with Pittsburgh. He was even a good assistant with us under Torts. But the one guy I wanted to go after was that Seattle assistant, Jay Leach, because, I look at every team, right? And I'm like, all right, who the heck is it? I wanted a north-south coach. And basically what that means, you dump the puck in and you just have like three forwards, go get it. Go get it. I don't care about this skill strategy because it doesn't work. I'd rather have grittiness than that. And that's what Seattle did. And that's why they were like a second-year team. This is their second year in the league, and they made it to a Game 7 in the second round. So obviously coaching has something to do with that. So I like their system. But you know what? If you're trying to sell me on Laviolette, maybe I'll try and be a little more positive. But I'm not going to be singing Kumbaya until I see some good results.
Facts. That's fair. That's fair, man. I mean, listen, hockey is one of the worst nepotism / retread things that you could possibly look at. Constantly, you got these guys that are coaching at least 5-6 teams, and again, a lot of the situations the same with Galan. It was like first couple of years he's good at wherever he is, and then he burns out. He burns out the team. Laviolette, same thing. The first couple of years, I don't know what the reasoning is for that. I truly don't. But it's weird how hockey does that, man. So that's why it was an uninspiring hire, because he's been on so many teams. I was looking at the Leech, but he said like it was not the right time for him. Listen, if the Rangers want to hire you, that is your time. You go to the New York Rangers to play to win there if you think you're a good coach. I don't know what this actual situation is. I don't know if he was actually given the job. I think they went with an experienced coach because this roster's ready to win now. And then if this doesn't win, they're gonna have to blow it up again. Who knows? But I think that's why they picked Laviolette. They wanted the experience, unless Sullivan came along. But I don't get the retread, man. I don't get it. It's such a blah. I will say this: the Rangers hired 3 good assistant coaches in this process too, and that's what you want to see when you have a veteran coach like Laviolette. They got Michael Pekka, they got Hauser, they got
Hauser,
so they got great coaches underneath Laviolette, and that actually is what excites me most about this hire. He brought those guys in. These guys are proven developers and proven good coaches in the minors. So that is probably, sadly, the most exciting part as hire for me. And they kept, Allaire, who is the goal coaching whiz. Anybody that plays for the Rangers in that is
you're
stuck,
good then.
Yeah. So listen, positive mindset. We still got a good roster. Again, like I said, the guy wins his first 3 years when he's at a new place. So let's line it up. Let's bring a cup back to New York. Let's get this thing turned around, right?
Finally, yeah.
So I'm gonna take a couple of things from the chat. Jacob says, John and Mr. Glass half full. Who would you want for the next manager? A young guy or old school type?
Go first.
My dream, and I've been hoping that this was going to happen, is they could lure Mike Scioscia out of retirement, and I want Mike Scioscia to come back and coach the New York Mets. I always loved this guy as a manager. I feel like he wasted away with the Angels. If Epler is still here, I think he's got the connection with Scioscia. Bring in a vet manager, but I think that Scioscia's a proven winner, unlike Buck, who's never won a damn thing in his whole career. Scioscia will win, and if you brought him to New York, that would be my guy, man. I want an old school coach. For me, baseball makes sense. Like, you're not going to reinvent the wheel in baseball. You're not going to come up with a new scheme that's going to, outsmart the opposition. You play the bullpen well, you develop your young guys, and you are a good coach in the dugout. So I think Scioscia could be that guy. That's why I want the old school type when it comes to that.
A little bit back to hockey here. The key is developing one of Laff, Kakko, Hedel, Ottman.
Ottman's in the minors, yep.
If one of those guys can be an everyday second liner, it's a great hire. Li says, hey, John, is Mike Babcock a good head coach? He's rumored to be the CBJ.
He used to be good. I don't think that's the right hire. He's not very good with the young players. Anyone that does watch hockey, you can literally go. There's like videos on it, but there's literally star players that have outspoken with him on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So there used to be stuff that he was too harsh on the kids. I don't know if that's just because the kids are soft or the fact that it's just an outdated way he talks to them. But I don't think it's a good hire for a team that was bad last year. Like, we're talking bottom of the league bag.
There's another one, Mike Schilt from St. Louis for obviously it's going back to baseball again. For the Mets job, maybe if that becomes vacant. I don't think it's bad. I mean, he was their last good manager before the shit show that's in St. Louis this year.
Right.
Right. I'm trying to think of like, I don't even know who I'd have to take a deeper dive look into it before I
I
give
know
an
you
answer.
said you wanted a spotter, John.
Give me Beltran. Give me Beltran. I want to see what Beltran can do. Give me a 1 year Beltran. He was supposed to be the Mets coach before he got before that whole Houston thing happened, right? So let's see what Beltran's got.
I'm gonna take a look into it and I'll give a maybe I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll even do a video one day on it, but we'll see.
There you
Take
go.
Beltran. Yeah, exactly what you just said.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I doubt that Beltran would have done a worse job than Luis Rojas.
It'd be hard. It'd have been hard.
Good point. Beltran is only good with cameras. I mean, we'll see if he ever gets a managing opportunity,
Nice.
which if Cora got rehired, I don't see why Beltran cannot.
You talking about Clint Hurdle?
I think
Clint
isn't he
Hurdle.
way retired?
He's been out for a few years now. So this is what the Mets should do: blow up the roster and hire Beltran as the manager for the rebuild. So it seems like it just seems like everybody's riding on the Beltran train, which makes sense. Jacob, to answer your question from earlier, we will be doing some draft grades in a little bit. Number 1 was Quinnenville, 2 was Sullivan, like Laviolette because he holds players accountable. NHL awards are going on now.
I got the list of award winners.
He also had a lot to do with Eric Stahl's development as a player.
Mm-hmm.
John, NBA and NHL offseason starts this week. You can be happy about this way.
Yeah, I'll be happy for like a
Wednesday
week.
is the NHL draft. Answered that one. Do you all think the Saquon situation gets figured out? I think Saquon comes back to the Giants and takes the deal eventually. He saw what Le'Veon Bell had, with the Steelers. That's my opinion, at least. I don't know.
You can't risk it, man. You can't risk for a guy that's been injured that many years. I hope that the Giants will do is they'll give him a shade over what is guaranteed with 2 franchise tags. End up around 25 guaranteed because that's all that really matters, just the guaranteed money. And end up at 13 a year. He'll come back for 3 years and you let him hit the market again when he's like 29, before he gets to his year 30. If he stays healthy, he'll get another contract. Win-win for both sides. Exactly. But you got to move away from him too at some point.
No, I agree. And exactly the way the running back market just deteriorated. Dalvin Cook's still a free agent. Miles Sanders got like $9 million this year. Zeke is still a free agent. Giants are going to be turning Swiss cheese in week 3. Brad is a 49ers fan, just for context. So we'll see. We'll see
who their quarterback is. I mean, you guys don't even know who's going to be taking snaps that game. So
Armand, I think they said the injury was 3 to 6 weeks. And then Brian Hoke said he talked to somebody who said the earliest point he'd come back is August 1st. And we'll see about that because the Yankees like to prolong injuries and all that stuff. Some Mets fans posting the Terry Collins rant today, so they're at that point in the season. Yeah, I know John probably wants Terry Collins
I love
back.
Terry. Yeah, and I love that video and I love that rant because it shows what managers are supposed to do. And Buck has not done that this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's
what I want to see. A little passion, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buck is just pretty much, mute. And then also this one. Yeah, IKF pitched twice within the past week. The bag of Testito was destroyed. But also DeRosa, young but old school mentality. Yeah.
I can get behind that name. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He did manage the USA teams, so it makes sense.
Yeah, he's got some managerial experience. Was a mastermind behind trash cans. Yeah, I mean, Cora did way worse, and he's still now a manager,
right?
A successful manager, that is. But with that being said, Mr. Glass half full. It was great having you on, man. Any final thoughts for the panel?
Listen, it's going to be a long summer. Let's just enjoy your 4th of July. Enjoy your July in general. Because once the end of July comes around, we got football to get us through the rest of the summer, and we'll be back at it before you know it. I hope all you boys enjoy your summer. Come watch New York Revival show if you guys had nothing else to do. We're on almost every Tuesday. We're taking a little break, recharging the batteries this summer. But come join us. We have some fun. We have some good guests on. So, guys ain't doing anything Tuesday nights, 8:30. That's usually when we go on. So, but appreciate you guys for having me and talking sports, man. Love chopping it up.
We'll
with
give you guys a share out and a shout out.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that, man. Appreciate that, guys.
my man. See you
Thank
later.
you.
Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Later, man.
All right. So that was Mr. Glass Half Full, aka Spiro from New York.
Alex, when do we get to change my name back to my real name?
Oh, he's still going on.
I mean, like, do we have to?
Yes,
Says who?
me.
I see. Me and John should vote on that. And
See,
we say-
I'm the person whose identity is being mistaken. My name is not Luca; it's actually Luca.
What if like Alex just took like your license or your ID, right, your passport, and just changed it to like ER? That'd be a horrible brother thing to do.
This is your name is not. Wait, you go to like the DMV or something. It's not. Wait, your name is not Luca. It's Luker.
Luker.
Yeah. But any final thoughts on the Mets, John?
Other than they'll probably lose this one. Negative.
Also, for the award segment, before we hit a little bit of the Yankees, and then we'll move on. Let's see. What do we got? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Player awards: best hitter, best pitcher.
For the Mets, the best hitters have been Lindor and Marte over the past week, and the best pitchers have been Max Scherzer and Brooks Raley.
Okay, all right, okay.
Those are my options for a feeble team.
Feeble team. But Luca, and also chat, we're still taking questions as usual. Like, comment, subscribe to all the good stuff. Luca, if you want to go on your first thoughts about the Yankees from this past weekend.
See, I want to be like, for the sake of good content, I want to be like really I'll try to analyze this as best as possible. But they won a series, woohoo, to be honest. I mean,
Woohoo.
Obviously they've got two should be easy series coming up against the Cardinals. Obviously the second series and the first series, which starts tomorrow against the A's. But got to at least sweep the A's and take 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. And then obviously you have the Baltimore Orioles, who I think the Yankees need to at least take 3 out of 4. Can't split because the Orioles are a red-hot team right now. But obviously Friday night was an epic disaster. Sunday was a comeback victory. I'm proud of that. And Severino with the pitchers dual win on Saturday. But we'll see how they build on it. I don't think they will.
Yeah. So, what do you think of what's going on with the whole Josh Donaldson escapade?
It's an escapade. It's a brouhaha. It's all phantom because he's going to still be here. You know, everybody made a big deal because, you know, Josh Donaldson had that meeting with Aaron Boone, and they was talking about how, I was sharing personal stories with Aaron Boone and all these different things, right? So I don't think anything's going to happen. I think he's still going to play, which is obviously I've said my piece about Donaldson. I just don't want him to play anymore. He doesn't deserve a spot on this team anymore. That's that.
All right. So I'm going to put 2 questions out there, and then we'll do the awards for the Yankees because I don't, as much as they did win this series, like Luca mentioned, I don't want to repeat myself. So, Luca, I'll ask you this. Who should be the starting catcher moving forward? Because now that's a controversy for the Yankees. Trevino hasn't been good offensively.
Yeah, he's got horrible plate
His
discipline.
defense is good. I mean, I don't think it's at the level it was last year. He can obviously throw runners out. He's never had an issue with that. And Higgy kind of does. I'm not saying Higgy's on the level of Trevino, but he's been kind of doing the same thing as of late. And it just seems like Higgy the last few weeks. And this is now no necessarily endorsement of Higgy, but Higgy's been, he's been doing things as of late.
He's
been having better at bats. That's kind of what I was going.
Yeah, but I think he'll eventually fall into a slump eventually. Personally, it's going to remain Trevino unless the Yankees actually give Rorvet a chance. Is he injured or is he not?
Ben Rorvet is on the IL in AAA.
unfortunately. So that means that we're going to have to still stick with Trevino. I think he's still somewhat of a liability despite his recent hot streak. But overall, you're going to have to still stick with Trevino because this is what we have unless the Yankees somehow get a catcher, which I don't think is going to happen.
Okay. Comment in the chat says Yankees winning series means nothing. A broken clock is right twice a day. I said this yesterday. I'm not going to seriously evaluate them until we get to the Baltimore series, and then even maybe a couple of series into the second half, because they do face cupcake teams. And I obviously understand. I'm just taking the negative route, but also at the same time, I mean, they should be beating Oakland in 3 games. They'll probably lose one of them. They should be beating St. Louis. Yankees may not get anybody. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. They should at least try to take 3 out of 4 from Baltimore. And then Chicago, they should just totally wipe the floor with. Well, honestly, the first 2 worst teams are right in front of them this week. So,
yeah, they get. I don't want to say they get to pad their schedule or their record, but again, like for me, for my concerning like pessimism, as much as John is pessimistic about the Mets, like here's how they'll come. They don't. To me, I don't think they're going to know how to handle themselves after winning a series. And it's not my pure pessimism. It's just based off what I see. It's called an evaluation. So just go look up the Cubs record. The Cubs are in 3rd place at around 37, 39, regardless. Like without Aaron Judge, let's just say the Yankees let's just say they start flopping for some reason. They'll say, okay, we're without Aaron Judge. But when they start winning, they're going to be like, okay, it's our system. It's all this. Everything is coming together without Aaron Judge. So I'm not going to say you can't have it both ways, but again, like we've seen the same thing over and over again, and I'm not going to rant because nobody wants to hear me rant because it's pointless, but it's just the general point.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be, I think it should be true. I honestly, no, I don't really care who's the catcher going forward. Just put up some runs. That's my honest opinion there. Yankees may not get anybody. I was talking about that yesterday, and I'll kind of evaluate.
I was also going to bring up. I was going to bring up something because Michael K show. No, I'm sorry, not Michael K show. Michael K appeared on the show podcast with Joel Sherman and John Heyman. He said it's. Let me see. He said whether Brian Cashman has the touch to build a championship team remains to be seen. The one thing about that bothers me when I talk to Brian about that stuff, he says their secret sauce works to 162 games, and then in the postseason, it's a crapshoot. Well, then my answer is get a better system because it doesn't seem to be a crapshoot for the Astros. You should not build a system that's a crapshoot in the most important time of the season. That's not good business. So they got to get something.
So Michael K said this?
Yes, over 162 games, it works in the postseason as well. See, here's the thing. I agree with him. Obviously, the system. But the expectations, the lack of accountability, and the justified losing are not mentioned in those sentences. So therefore, I can't be hopeful.
Even on his point, like, has he ever brought that up to Brian Cashman himself? You're probably going to say no. You're probably going to say no on that, right?
Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you.
So, I mean, as I said, tough questions, out the window, all that sort of stuff. So let me ask another question before we get into something else. And then we'll also do our player awards. How much a difference does a Carlos Rodon return make for this rotation?
We got to see how he starts off. Obviously, he'll be limited. But I think if he pitches well, obviously, I know this is going to be like a cupcake answer. If he pitches well, it's going to add, some consistency. I mean, Clark Schmidt has done very well over the past couple of starts, despite, not getting enough run support and the Yankees just being lousy in the field behind him. Obviously, Garrett Cole's been amazing this year for the most part. He's had some rough starts, including yesterday. Severino has been kind of a wild card. And Herman has been a wild card as well at times. So the Yankees need Rodon to be consistent, but it's going to be kind of tough for him coming off an injury, especially how long he was out. And also, can I also add something? There's phase 2 of balloting open for All-Star Game starters, if you guys want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think we could do that. All right. So, Luca, if you want to pull it up on your end.
I indeed will. Let me just pull up the link.
Francisco Lindor is what? The National League leader?
I don't know actually. I will not. I don't know the whole voting right now. I know he's like up there. I don't remember if I'm being completely honest about that.
So I will also. I'm just going to note. There's 2 players per position per league. Let's just say there's 2 first basemen, American League. You have to pick one of them. So,
Okay.
let me just remove this thing on the side. Just give
And
me
these are for the starters, correct? This is how it works because the voting system is really.
This is the finals.
But for the starters, yeah.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. All
right. So we've got obviously all these positions. We'll start off with first base, American League. We have Yandy and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
I think my vote here. I'll see how you guys obviously do it, but I think I'd go Yandy Diaz here. I think he's more deserving.
Yandy as well.
So are we doing it first base for the National League, or are we just going to go through American League?
We'll do National League as well because obviously we're not voting through an entire list of candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Freeman or Matt Olson? I'm leaning Freeman. Even though Olson, it's tough because Freeman's hitting 317 with a 946 OPS, but Olson is what, top of the league in home runs?
I mean, I would vote Freeman here just because, even despite Olson leading it in leading everyone in homers is tied. Freeman's got a better batting average, better OPS. Usually, I think he's also a better defender.
It's the mindset.
Yeah.
It's the mindset that differs for everybody. So, like the new age fan will say, "Oh, we're gonna give Olson the vote because the home runs." I'm gonna stick to Freddie Freeman. I mean, Freddie has been always one of my favorites, but yeah, I'm gonna go
Freddie
Freeman.
clears.
Second base, we'll go to the American League. Whit Merrifield versus Marcus Semien.
Honestly,
that's an easy one.
Give me Semien.
Yeah,
I just don't think Merrifield. Cause I don't know, because there's not much of a story with Merrifield. Merrifield, I mean, obviously was more in his prime a few years ago, so that's number one. Number two, Semien had a horrible season last year, or at least horrible start. He turned it around, and now he's one of the best hitters in baseball, along with Corey Seager as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just going to go Marcus Semien here.
I would think this National League choice is obvious, right?
Oh, yeah, easily.
Obviously, Albies.
But
what's he hitting now, Arias? Is
399?
I mean,
that's video game numbers. All right, we'll go to third. We got third base. We have Matt Chapman and Josh Young.
Oh, this is a lot closer than it originally was.
See, the problem is Matt Chapman usually doesn't have this type of year. So it's a mindset thing. You can either say, hey, we'll give him an all-star this year. Maybe he doesn't do it next year. Or you do Josh Jung and hey, listen, this young core for the Rangers is actually doing something.
I think Chapman had a really good first part of the season. I think that might get him over. But it's I might coin flip on that one. But I think Chapman has this slight edge. But it's
How about this?
Close.
How about this? Can I evaluate how they've done in their last 15 games? And I'll give you...
Okay.
All right, so...
but it's you got to look at the whole season.
No, I know. How about what they've been hitting in the separate months, okay? I think that's a fair analysis.
Okay. All
right. In the splits, Matt Chapman in April hit 372. Ever since, in May, he's hit 202. In June, he's hit 200.
Oh. Okay. So it was just that one hot month. He also, I'll give this, he's very good defensively. He's one of the best at third base defensively. But go on with Josh Young, because I do like this man.
Young, all right, I'll pull up his stats, all right. 272, obviously. In April, he started off by hitting 278 in about 97 at-bats. Then it climbed to 318 in May. Then it fell back a little bit to I should say a little bit, 224 in June so far.
Jesus, so the month of June has not been kind.
I still might lean Chapman. It's not.
I'm leaning
Just 'cause-
Jung because he's a little more consistent.
Maybe.
I'm gonna take Jung on this one.
Okay, we'll go with Josh. I believe it is pronounced. Is it pronounced Young or Young? Is it like
I think it's Young.
Young? I think it's Young. Yeah. Well, no, kid is a shot for Rookie of the Year. So.
I believe it is Young.
Oh. All right, so next up we have one player per league, third base, Nolan Arenado versus Austin Riley. Those stats look incredibly similar.
Jesus
And
Christ!
if we're going based on how we just did it, Austin Riley is starting to heat up, like really good. I think I take Austin Riley.
Yeah, because I'd consider this season like obviously Arenado's having a solid season, right? But I expect a little bit better from him in April. I'm going to give you the stats as well. April, Arenado 231, but in May and June, 290 in May, 282 in June.
Okay, I mean
That's a little bit better.
Yeah.
For Austin Riley, this far,
He had a slow start, Riley. He did.
Okay, so we'll get the stats to prove that right about now. In April, he hit 258, then 271, and 271 this month as well.
I'm going to go with Riley.
Yeah, Moline Riley. Alex, what do you say?
Go ahead and give me Austin Riley.
Bo Bichette versus Corey Seager. Let me remind you that Corey Seager was injured for a part of the season, and I want to balance out the playing time.
I would say Bichette.
Alex doesn't like his defense. We're gonna measure.
Go ahead and give me Seager.
All right, so I got your votes. I'm just going to double check Seager's games played. He's had 187 at bats compared to Bichette, who's played in 333 at bats. There's a little more of a sample size. 78 games for him. Seager has played in
46.
47 thus far. So
47.
I think I'm going to lean Bichette because of the sample size, even though Seager's having a really good year.
Makes sense.
Orlando Arcia versus John's favorite, Francisco Lindor.
You know what? I'm going to stick it to John. I'm voting Lindor.
I am going to vote Arcia in this one.
That sounds like a hard choice, John. You want to reconsider?
No, I mean, just because Arcia has been way more consistent, even though he was injured a little bit, but I don't think Lindor is deserving to be an all-star starter. Maybe he's an all-star, but I don't think he's a
reserve
starter.
I'm going with John's vote, Arcia. Next up, two young catchers, Jonah Heim and Adley Rutschman.
Ooh, this is so close. And it's funny because I remember taking Rutschman when we did this in round one. I'm going to flip-flop. I'm going to go Jonah Heim.
All right.
Give me Jonah Heim, too.
Just going to do a double check on the numbers. Obviously, we see the general numbers, but over the past 7 games, Rutschman's hitting .083. Jonah Heim with the Rangers over the last few games is hitting .348. Heim has gotten to heat up recently. In the month of June, he's hitting .286. He's been a little more consistent with the average, .292 in April, .265 in May, .286 in June. So it went up and then went down a little bit and then went up again. So Rutschman thus far, again, I like both of these players. .255, .286. He's now hitting .203 in June. So I'm going to lean Jonah Heim.
I know Texas is getting most of this infield, but damn, they have a really good infield.
Sean Murphy versus Will Smith. I think I'm leaning Sean Murphy.
I'm going to take, because he's been hotter, Will Smith in this one.
All right, Alex, you're the tiebreaker.
Give me Sean Murphy.
Okay.
Outfield, we get to select 3 players for the AL, 2 players for the NL because Acuna is already in and he's a top vote getter. He's already started.
It's Ohtani's the top vote getter for
Designated
the American
hitter.
Correct? Yes.
Yep. All right, so we'll start off with the American League. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to vote Aaron Judge because it would be stupid because he's hurt.
Jordan is also hurt, no?
He is.
Oh.
He is hurt. He's been out a while too.
Unless I will not vote for them unless there's like a really bad selection.
Okay. One of my votes, I've been advocating for him even though he's on a bad team. Luis Robert. Dude is up there in homers. Like, and he hits for average too. You check out his stats.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you, John. These are your options: Alvarez or Rosarina.
Really? Wow. I mean, it's not that there's bad. I mean, I guess because, okay. I thought there would be more of a list, but I guess it's only 6 outfielders. If I had to pick from those,
I'd actually say one of them is Garcia.
Yeah, you could say Adolis. I was going to say Randy Arozarena deserves it.
Okay. Again, you get to choose 3. So
I'd say Randy. If we're not choosing Judge or Alvarez because they're hurt, because it makes no sense, I'd say Randy Adolis. And does Kevin Kiermaier get it or Mike Trout?
I lean Trout a little bit.
I'd rather have Trout than Kiermaier. I think Kiermaier is a solid player, but I don't think he's a
All-star.
He'll get as a reserve, but I don't think he's a starter. We could do Trout, Garcia, and a Rosarina.
Now you have
Trout's not having the best season. Like that's tough actually because you expect him to do better.
Yeah, true with the average, but I think you have the power numbers at least.
He does.
That's why I'm leaning. So now you have the National League. You have Betts, Carroll, Gurriel Jr., and Michael Harris II.
Those are the options.
I'd like to call timeout for a second. John, they're warming up David Robertson. Why couldn't they warm up yesterday?
Wait, hold on. Hold the phone.
I just don't like they're losing. Like these are the spots to use Brigham. Like what? He has no clue what he's doing. Are we really bringing in our closer in a losing situation?
Yes. Unless they say Marte's going to tie it.
That's it. TV's off. Here it is.
You guys literally heard the sound of the TV going off, so you know he's not kidding.
No weenies allowed. All right. I think we should get back to the votes.
All right, hold on.
I cannot with this baseball team. As I was rudely interrupted by foolishness from the Mets, I guess the 2 guys I'd vote for, I mean, Acuna's obviously already in there, but I really love this kid, Corbin Carroll.
I agree. That's why
I'm on the Corbin Carroll train. And
then if you want to give who is the other options? Betts, Gurriel, and Harris. I'd say Mookie Betts. Dude is raking right now. And
this is how much he's hitting over the last couple of games. That'll help me out in my evaluation. Mookie.
I think he had like 2 homers this past series. But he's been hitting more extra base hits, and he's also been fine defensively too.
Okay, over the last couple of games, he's actually hitting 154.
Ooh. For
the month of June, I'll pull up the splits now. For the month of June, Betts is hitting 272. He hit 269 in the prior month, and then the prior month before that in April hit 242. So it's like a slowly uprising. So I understand your vote, John.
I'd say Betts and Carroll. I don't know if you guys have a differ.
Let me see how Lourdes Gurriel's doing over the last couple of games.
I'd say no on Michael Harris because he had a very slow start. Very slow start. He was hitting in the 160s to start off. Go on.
Gurriel over the past couple of games is hitting 250 in his last 28 ABs. Month of April, he hit 275, 352 in May, but a very bad slump in June. He's let's look at the numbers: 12 of 68, 176. I'm leaning Mookie to at least start. Alex, what do you say?
Give me Mookie.
Okay. DH, we only got 2 options.
Wow. Okay. If I had to pick between the 2, I think just how good has Harper been since he's even?
These are his numbers on the season: 3 homers, 17 RBIs. I
I
don't
can't.
like.
Yeah, it's because he was hurt. So I'd say Martinez gets in based on the fact that Harper was like hasn't really played that. It's like the Seager thing. So
Yeah. All right. So those are our picks.
I think
Alex?
there's a fair picks.
Yeah, I think they're fair too. Luca for this past week for the Yankees, best hitter, best pitcher.
Best pitcher, Luis Severino threw a shutout, not a complete game shutout, regardless of shutout. Best hitter, I guess I'll go. Let me see. Maybe Harrison Bader. No, I'll change that. Billy McKinney.
McKinney was going to be my vote too, and I'll take Severino. I'll take Severino to do it too. But any final notes on the baseball subject?
Nope, my television's turned off. I've completely given up.
He's given up all hope, folks.
Mhm.
Given up all hope. But Mrs. Met is the Mutts MVP. I mean,
I think
well,
the dog outside of City Field's the MVP.
Well, yeah, because he didn't go into the stadium.
That's right. He didn't get contaminated. So
yeah, he didn't get. No, I was going to say something else, but I'm going to stop. Luca, if you want to take a dive into the NBA.
So I thought we'd do a draft grade segment as watch the Mets come back. I'm actually seeing they're not coming back right now as Tellez is versus David Robertson. But regardless, I have ESPN open. We're going to review the draft. I think we're going to go over the main. Where's John?
John just crapped out, I guess.
That was sudden.
Oops, my bad. They what's it called? Friggin', I wanted to move a tab, but
1 second.
He pulled a Brian, obviously.
I did. I 100% did.
All right. So obviously we're looking at Luca had to answer an Alexa call. I know what that sound is. But by the way, folks, I just want to say this. As these guys are, going to be doing their NBA draft grades, we have a new hoodie that's on the shop, and we're going to have a new promo code, which I will announce very shortly. But I'll let you guys get to it.
So we're gonna review the most important draft picks, John. I don't think we're gonna review every draft because I know we only did the stream for the first round. So, John, first overall, what's the Wembayama pick? It's an A+, obviously, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's it's pretty hard to mess up this pick. With Wembayama, everyone thinks he's a generational talent, and obviously that's what you do if you're the Spurs. Not really a big explanation to why it's an A+.
Yeah, of course. Best overall prospect. Very hyped up, especially as one of the best, in the most recent generation. Number 2, Brandon Miller playing alongside LaMelo Ball.
Just because he's so talented too. I give it like a A- maybe. I would have gone Scoot, but I still think they're getting a good player. I just think it was maybe not the best fit, but I still think that they are getting someone that's going to be able to help them.
Of course, I completely agree there. I'll go A- as well. The Hornets actually get a defensive forward who also could do some shooting. He could play with his size. He could play the 3, maybe even the 4.
I think he's a 3. I think he will be a 3 in this league.
He'll start off as a 3, definitely. I don't know what they'll do with Gordon Hayward at the very moment because obviously they're paying him a shit ton of money and he's not exactly the most available. Kelly Oubre is also a free agent, so I'll mention that. But I think he fits seamlessly right next to LaMelo Ball, obviously, to pick up the defensive end. So number 3 overall, we have Scoot Henderson going to the Portland Trailblazers. Now, obviously, he was the best player available, but what is the fit alongside Dame Lillard, John? What do you think about that?
Well, I honestly think that it's not a fit of Dame, and I think they're really going to start the rebuild. I'd be shocked if Dame started opening night for Portland. Like I don't see it. That's why, I'm not mad at the pick because it's like it's kind of saying like, hey, like Dame, this is not your team anymore. We're gonna ship you out. We're gonna give you a chance to win somewhere. So, and I think Luka, you agree with that too. So I didn't really see it as a fit next to Dame.
Mm-hmm.
This pick, I kind of see it as a hey, we're starting over again.
Now, I will also mention that in recent reports, the agent and Damian Lillard and his agency have met with the organization of the Portland Trailblazers to discuss their direction. John, you make an excellent point. I doubt they play next to each other because it would be such a weird fit because obviously Dame is not a great defender. He's obviously a plus outside shooter. He's going to get the ball a lot, but Scoot is also a plus passer who needs the ball in his hands to be successful. Not a great shooter. Again, he's the guy you buy in the raw athleticism and the raw talent, but his shot is not developed from the outside. His defense, for the most part, is solid. He can do some he can create some turnovers on that end, but he's not he's not a finished product. And with if you want to build next to Damian Lillard, you need a finished, I shouldn't say a finished product, but a win now type of product. And I don't think Scoot Henderson is that type. So, John, you have a point there. For a rebuild aspect, I'll go A+ because he's obviously the best player available, and it makes sense to start out with him.
At that point, yeah, it's like, all right, well, let's just go best player.
And the one thing is, what's going to help Henderson is he did play alongside probably some veterans in the G League Ignite. So that is a plus side. I just want to get a couple of comments. Wembanyama is an A for me. You got to build around him with elitist talent. Plus, I don't know if Popovich is going to be around to coach him all the way through. He does stand to gain if Kerr comes. You cannot leave Wembanyama isolated like the Mavs have failed to build consistently around Luka Doncic and Dirk prior to him. Absolutely, you must build around Wembanyama. They also got a young star in Devin Vassell, who hasn't obviously made an all-star team yet. I think he's unfortunately had some injuries in his career, but Keldon Johnson is also a very good wingman right next to Wembanyama. So you obviously have Wembanyama at center. Then you'll have Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell along the wings. Vassell's more a little more defensive-minded, and Keldon Johnson's more of the scorer. I think their point guard is Trey Jones, but yeah, obviously an A+ on that pick. So number 4. Now this is where it kind of went off. I shouldn't say went off the rails because we already knew what the top 3 was going to be, or at least somewhat of the order. We got number 4. I think, John, you got the pick this pick right. Amen Thompson for the Houston Rockets. How do you see that fitting?
I think it's a great fit for them. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be the best player, but I really do like the fit. That's why I'm thinking A-.
Okay.
I don't know what you're leaning toward here.
Just want to get to a comment real quick, John, before I get to that. Yes, Sochan. Jeremy Sochan is also a really good defensive piece right next to him. And, he's not the greatest shooter, but I'm excited to watch him develop. He's, again, consider like a Draymond Green-esque type who's basically a defensive four who does the dirty work, talking about, once again, Jeremy Sochan. But Amen Thompson, he was a point guard in the Overtime Elite League. I doubt he plays point guard in this league. But the problem is, again, this is a part of him developing, and this is a very young Rockets team. He's going to have to shoot the ball from the outside as a wing. If he's going to be replacing Kenyon Martin in the starting lineup, he's going to have to start shooting the ball pretty well. And that was, again, one of his bigger weaknesses with the Overtime League. He can pass like – right? Yeah, his jump shot. He can pass like hell. He has great athleticism, especially in transition. This Rockets team is going to be a hell of a lot of fun, especially with all the young talent they have. But again, the question surrounding Thompson is the outside shooting and the creation aspect. So that I like an A- for that because obviously the fit, you could have easily gone with Cam Whitmore, even though there were reports saying that it was all about the knees, whether his knees would hold up or whatever, and the interview process as well. So going to go with an A- on that as well. So number 5. Detroit Pistons select Asar Thompson.
The other Thompson.
I had this one in.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm saying I had this one in.
Yes. I think we both had this correct. Although I don't like the fit necessarily. Like I think he was the best player available, but I don't think because Asar's not a shooter either. Cade and Jaden Ivey, they're
slashers.
They're slashers, and now you have Asar who's like, more of that wing player that he's more well-rounded compared to his brother, but he's better defensively. I think that's good. That's why I'm giving this one a B, But
You can go. I'm gonna give it a B plus.
B plus. I do like. I think he was probably the best player available too. So maybe I'll go B plus. But
Yeah, definitely.
Because remember, you got Cade and Jaden Ivey is your backcourt. Now you have the wing defender in Asar, and now you just got to build out your depth more. I think Detroit's going in the right direction, though. I do.
I can name one team that's not going in the wrong direction, and that's the Mets. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Daniel Vogelback just fouled out to the catcher to end the game. But anyways, regardless, I want to get to Sunil's comments. He says, let's not paint Wembanyama to be the former Michael Jordan here. A lot of hype, but he's got to prove it. He's got to prove it.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
Duncan probably had a Parker and a Ginobili coming in after him to augment the path towards the San Antonio dynasty under Popovich. That is absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. Those were the guys who grew around him. And before, obviously with Duncan, like the 98-99 season where he won MVP against the Knicks, obviously there was a lot of veterans on that team. Avery Johnson, David Robinson, Sean Elliott, I think Mario Ellie was his name. Yeah, a lot of veterans, but obviously they built around the kids and whatnot. So regardless, we'll move on to I got to get my analysis. My bad. So I agree with you, John. I think they need a little more outside shooting. They obviously, in my opinion, your opinion too, I think they'll eventually move Bogdanovich either soon during free agency or possibly during the trade deadline or whatever. So there is a need for outside shooting. I think that's the one concern. But obviously they have to pick up some shooting eventually along the way. So that's definitely a need for the Detroit team. So we'll get to that. But number 6 overall, Anthony Black for the Magic. Now, this was a bit of a question mark. There was a bit of a need at point guard, but there's a lot of guards that they have.
Right. I think I'm giving this maybe a B minus. And it's funny, I got the pick right. Not that I think Anthony Black's a bad player, but like he's I think he's more he needs to work on his shooting for sure. And it's like, now you have like Fultz.
Okay.
You had
Gary Harris
in that backcourt. You had
Cole Anthony,
and you have who's the other guy that I'm not thinking of? Jalen Suggs is in that backcourt. So yeah, and I understand why they're probably going to move off of Fultz. That's my prediction, but
I'd say Jalen Suggs because he was also in some rumors
maybe
too.
Suggs too, but like they probably could have done something better, maybe. Although I do like their front court too. I think they just got to do better of building that front court depth.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I like the pick on the basis of they need an actual point guard who's sustainable and can stay on the court. But a problem, again, as John mentioned, the problem is the backcourt clog.
Right.
Obviously, then they went to draft another guard at 11, which we'll eventually get to. Number 7, Bilal Cool. Now, this was obviously traded to the Wizards. So whether you want to evaluate 7 and 8 for the Wizards, you want to evaluate 8 overall for the Pacers, Koulibaly to the Wizards. What do you think of that? There's a little bit of a risk, and in B, it's a little bit of a reach, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a reach too, just because, this guy from France, right? I know he's a teammate. I believe he was a teammate of Wembanyama, if I'm not mistaken. But, he's not like he's very raw.
Yeah.
As a prospect, and I wasn't expecting him to go so high. I'd say a C.
B minus. I'd say I understand where they're taking that calculated risk.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously he's very raw. This is a rebuilding team for the Wizards. Obviously after
very raw.
Very raw. So you could say probably like a B minus, something along those lines. But moving on to number 8, Jarris Walker for the Indiana Pacers.
Jarris Walker, for the Pacers, I like that pick actually. I'd say A minus.
I'd actually go A plus, but continue.
A plus, okay. Now he's better defensively in my opinion.
Of course,
which I think they needed in that front court, especially with Miles Turner there. That's I was you could have argued they could have taken maybe a Taylor Hendricks. Maybe that was a team that could have taken, someone else. But, as long as it helps that interior out, because remember, the Pacers, they can score. They got some good offensive talent. The rookie, I keep forgetting his name. Oh my God.
Matherin.
You got Halliburton. That's a pretty good. They got a good starting five. They do.
No, I definitely think it's an up and coming, especially in the with Coach Rick Carlisle. But I thought Walker was the perfect fit because I didn't see there was Aaron Nesmith projected to be the starting four, and I disagreed because I don't think he has much of a future there. They need a real four who could play defense and help that unit out. Walker obviously needs to work on his offensive game, but effectively he's going to pass up. Obviously, he's not going to be the main initiator in that offense. It's going to be Halliburton. It's going to be Matherin shooting the ball. It's going to be Hield shooting the ball. Miles Turner will shoot the ball. So it's going to give time a little bit for Walker to mold offensively. But defensively, obviously, he's very versatile, which is going to help because Matherin's a good defender and Miles Turner's a good defender. So you have three good defenders, ideally, in that starting lineup.
Right. And I wasn't saying Turner was a bad. I'm saying he needs help on that.
Oh, no, I agree. I completely agree.
They definitely needed it there. So good player, and they fit a need.
Absolutely. So we move on to the next pick, number 9, Taylor Hendricks for the Utah Jazz. We get to talk a little bit about the John Collins trade they just made because obviously this goes hand in hand. John, talk a little bit about the pick with Hendricks, which I liked. I'm not going to lie. I'll display my thoughts after you. But you look confused by why they made that trade?
Yeah, because with Hendricks, right, he's coming out of Central Florida. Like we said earlier on draft night, I thought he was a good 3-and-D player. He could stretch the floor. He can also can run and is athletic. He can protect the rim. Good defender. But, when I heard the John Collins trade, it kind of is like, wait, why did you go out and get him after you just drafted this guy 9th overall?
Right.
And it makes you question, are they questioning the pick? Are they questioning someone else in that lineup? I don't know what the thought process is for the Jazz. It was very confusing. On draft night, I would have said this is an A- pick. But, now I'm starting to, second guess. Do they not think this guy is good as,
as they thought when they drafted him? I'm just going to do a stat check real quick. Because effectively, let me see with the rebounds here. Just checking between two players. I don't understand the fit for Collins in the Jazz starting lineup. 2 reasons why. First off, I think Collins and Markkanen do close to the same thing, except Markkanen's a little more of a scorer, but they're both liabilities defensively. Now, Markkanen, per the crafted NBA percentile rankings, got better defensively this year. But who's playing defense in that starting lineup outside of Walker Kessler? Now, the starting lineup projects is this, by the way, John.
Sexton, Clarkson,
Markkanen, Collins, and Kessler. There's no plus defender except Walker Kessler, and that's a lot of pressure on a second-year man.
Right. And I'll add this too, that with the Jazz, right, they might not even keep all those guys. There's been some trade rumors with Sexton. There's been some with Jordan Clarkson. We were even talking about it earlier in one of our group chats earlier, and I don't know. I think they kind of overachieved last year.
They had a really hot start, and then they fell a little bit because they weren't good defensively.
I think that it's going to come a little bit down to reality, and they're going to be like, all right, let's start the rebuild now.
Yeah, they're just right. They're like smack dab in the middle, not like regular smack dab in the middle. They're smack dab in the middle of being a playing team and a lottery team because they have a lot of talent, but they don't have a lot of star talent. That's the thing. They could be like a top half playing team, but they fell off. Obviously, that's why I think Hendricks is a better fit for the starting lineup. Obviously, he's going to need some developing with his shot. He was a little inconsistent at UCF, but Hendricks will be around shooters. Kessler obviously has his offensive game is growing, but he has Clarkson, Sexton, and Markkanen in the lineup, where Hendricks could, feel better about himself offensively. Defensively, he helps out the lineup. So I wouldn't understand completely why Collins is, the starting power forward.
Yeah, and like Collins is like you said, he's not good defensively. And the contract is just like, is it even worth it? Like I don't think it is.
Collins' value is pretty down, obviously, in this
They bought
like
low on him.
they bought low. That's what they did. And the Hawks got a second-round pick and Rudy Gay back for him to accept his player option. But
Yeah,
regardless,
I forgot Rudy Gay was still in the league.
yeah, 37 years old. But I'm not gonna lie. I like the pick, but not after they just traded for John
Right,
Collins.
you're right.
So moving on, number 10, we have going to the Mavericks, Derek Lively.
Well, no, this is what's it called? This is the Thunder pick they traded up.
Okay, so I'm trying to read.
Case and Wallace.
It was Case and Wallace, so it is the Thunder for Case and Wallace. I'm just going to double check. Because again, these trades are always weird.
I know,
Wallace,
yeah, they don't.
Yep, Wallace is with the Thunder. So, John, your analysis on this pick. A little more analysis, a little bit of background info if you want.
Well, with Wallace, and remember they also picked up the contract of Davis Bertans, maybe for some depth. I like him. I know he had an injury history in college with Kentucky, and I don't know before that. I have to take a deeper dive. But he's a good He's a good playmaker. He's got a good jumper. And you got a young nucleus with Shai Gilgeous, Josh Giddey, and some other guys down there. It's not a horrible fit, but I think he's just because he's they targeted a bench and they needed it. I'd say it's a B. Like I don't think he's the best player, but I think it's a good fit.
It's a solid fit. I'm not gonna lie to you because I was reading some articles. Obviously, when I was doing my mock draft, I gather all my analysis and whatnot. And Trey Mann he was obviously drafted in 2021 out of Florida. Trey Mann, I liked coming out of the draft 2 years ago, and he's had a very up and down career. So it's like the Thunder want some assurances of their backup point guard position, and Case and Wallace would be able to step in and play, obviously, right there, right then, right now. So Wallace, this is also kind of putting Trey Mann on the hot seat a little bit. I don't know when his contract is up, obviously, but Wallace is going to play defense. He's going to play make. But the thing with Wallace is he is surrounded by shooters as well. I'm going to pull up the Thunder depth chart. Isaiah Joe, 40% from three last year, and he was one of the top 15 shooters. Wallace, obviously, an okay shooter. But I think the Thunder need to add a little more shooting. Obviously, so I'll give it a B, honestly. I'll give it a B.
Yeah.
What's going on to Sox, Arizona? What's going on, brother?
Oh,
Sox, what's up?
Talking to now, this was Sunil on the Jarvis Walker pick for the Pacers pick, BB minus. Reason his coaching is going into with Carlisle. I'm not going to crap on Rec because he guided our 2010-2011 Mavs team to the pinnacle, but seems to have fallen off since. It was due to relationships with star players, and you saw his dismissal come in the aftermath of some friction with Luka Doncic. Well, Doncic, I'm not going to lie to you, hasn't, again, not as him as a player, obviously, but he hasn't been quite served, correctly right after the dismissal of Carlisle, because I don't think highly of Jason Kidd as a coach. Obviously, our buddy Brian had Jason Kidd as a coach with the Bucks, but obviously different tenures. And I think Carlisle has a young team. I think he's still a good coach, obviously, but there's no star on that team. So I think he's going to hold guys accountable. He's going to run the right system through them. So getting to the next pick we have here, we've got Jet Howard for the Magic. I'm not too keen on this pick. First of all, it's a reach. Second of all, we just talked about the backcourt depth.
Yeah, I'd say maybe a C minus. I thought, not that I think Howard's a bad player. It's just like I thought it was a reach, and if the Magic really wanted a shooter, Grady Dick was still available.
So is Jordan Hawkins.
Hawkins still available. So
I'm gonna go C plus, honestly.
Yeah.
At that point,
I don't want to crap on the kid.
Yeah, you want to crap on him. So here we go. Number 12. I think this is going to Dallas. This is Derek Lively.
I have this as an A. This is an excellent pick. this is an excellent pick. I mean, for Dallas to get a good shot blocker, and a rim protector, something they did not have, pretty much non-existent for them. Sunil could tell you that. He's a Mavs fan. But hey, you know what? He's not a bad. He's pretty decent with picking the pick and roll option too, which would be perfect for Luka. Or if they bring Kyrie back, like that's a great fit.
I definitely see it as a great fit.
Mhm.
Obviously, we mentioned in the draft, not only is Dwight Powell a free agent, first of all, he's a liability defensively. Christian Wood also a liability defensively, but as offense, they're not going to bring him back. So I think this is a perfect start. You get somebody to grow alongside Luka. Obviously, Luka will be teaching him through the pick and roll and whatnot, as John just mentioned. So I got to go A, honestly. It's a very good pick. Next up, with the 13th overall pick, the Toronto Raptors select Grady Dick.
This is also, I'd say, maybe an A-, just
Okay.
because Toronto really struggled to shoot last year, and they had some spacing issues on that team. But you bring in this guy, you compare him with Siakam, whether you start Dick or you bring him off the bench. I know Fred VanVleet is a free agent and he's testing the market, so it's going to be interesting to see who starts for them. But I like the pick here. I think this guy is probably easily the best shooter in the draft.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to look through an updated depth chart real quick, but maybe there's some sort of philosophy change in my opinion, because Nick Nurse was very much about slow pace and defense and all that. So this could be, obviously, you just said it, John. They struggled with shooting last year. Obviously, you have guys like Gary Trent Jr. I don't know. I don't remember if he picked up his option. He might have, or I think he declined it, if I'm not mistaken. Same thing with Fred VanVleet, two popular free agents right now. OG Anunoby, possibly a trade target, or at least for other teams. So 3-point percentage, their leader was OG Anunoby last year. But maybe Darko Rajakovic is with a different philosophy. And he's, going to have these guys play faster. And that's what you have with Grady Dick. I'm not going to say he's exactly like Christian Braun, but you get an off-ball scorer who can cut and shoot the three ball well. So it's a solid pick if you want to change up the philosophy. So I'm going to go A-.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty much agreed. Next pick is the New Orleans Pelicans taking Jordan Hawkins.
I like this pick. I'll double check the depth chart though. See where he fits.
I like the pick too. I again, Hawkins is probably the second best shooter in this class.
Yep.
And he's a very good catch and shooter. So now it's like, all right, how is he going to figure out how to play with a hopefully healthy Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum? But I'm trying to think if there's anyone that they could have taken or something better for a need. Maybe it could have been Jalen Hood-Schifino.
Okay.
Maybe. Just
I
because
mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, John, but I was going to say, and to your point, they don't really have a true point guard. McCollum led them last year in assists, and he's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard.
And they have Jose Alvarado, who's more of like a defensive stopper.
Yeah,
I love his defense, but I don't see him as a starter. That's why I'm going to give it a B+. But I think Hawkins is a good player.
No, I do too. I think I'll give him a B+ as well. You definitely add shooting to the bench, which they have plenty of. So their lineup, without Zion, obviously, the lineup for the Pelicans projects is this: McCollum, Murphy, Ingram, Herbert Jones, and Jonas Valanciunas. You have two defensive stoppers and athletic wings, and Murphy and Jones. Ingram is a little more athletic, obviously. Hawkins, you actually add shooting to the bench, which is actually a good thing, because if you're preparing to have Dyson Daniels come off the bench as the lead guard, Daniels cannot shoot. He plays defense very well, but he also could pass. And obviously, if Willie Green can make good of Hawkins' strengths, that would be a great thing. So you could go like an A-, B+ for this pick. So the next pick we've got number 15, the Hawks, Kobe Buffkin.
I'd say I do like this man out of Michigan. For those who don't know, he's more of the guy that can play on or off the ball, and I really like those players, especially when you have a ball dominant guard with Trae Young, a guy that can score off screens, backdoor cuts, all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna go based on just fit here, A-.
Yeah, it's interesting because now Jalen Johnson will probably move into the starting lineup because John Collins obviously got traded. I don't see Rudy Gay obviously starting or playing a particularly important bench role.
Mm-hmm.
So the lineup would be as follows: Young, Murray, Hunter, Johnson, and Capella. Obviously, the starting backcourt would probably be AJ Griffin and Kobe Buffkin, but I think there's a lack of backup point guard. If you understand what I'm saying,
Right?
Because obviously they don't have a true one. Like, there's no true backup point
Well,
guard.
maybe with the salary shed of John Collins,
they could do like a mid-level exception type
Yeah.
deal, something like that for the backcourt.
right?
But moving to the next pick. So, John, what is your final grade?
I gave this based on fit an A-. I like the fit there.
I'll go
I
B
do.
plus. I'll go B plus. But next up with the Utah Jazz, selecting a guard out of Baylor, Keontae George.
I really like this pick. I have it at a B plus. Just because this guy can score and his shot making ability is very good. He could shoot off the dribble, he could shoot off the catch, and he's a decent playmaker too. He was with Baylor. I think the weakness was defensively, but with the Jazz, we were talking about with their guards, Sexton and Clarkson. One of those guys might be out this year, and even though they're not the greatest defensively, at least go with someone younger if you're going to score. I feel like that should be a general rule that's kind of not talked about. Let the kids learn how to play defense. Like Sexton's still young, but I just don't see. I see him as like I feel like his potential's already been reached as a starter.
Yeah,
I'll never see him as a star player. And Clarkson on a really good playoff team, he could be like a 6th or a 7th man. So
he won 6-man a few years ago. So
yeah, he did.
It's not
He did.
far off.
I completely forgot about that. But I really like George's ability to score. I think it was almost a steal to get him at 16.
Of course. I'm gonna go B plus. B plus. Keep it fair.
Okay.
Next pick, we've got number
Lake Show.
17, Jalen Hood-Schifino to the Lakers. Now, I think somebody said that Hood-Schifino could quite possibly be a replacement for Austin Reeves.
I mean, I'd love it if they could keep Austin Reeves.
Right?
That's a conversation maybe for Friday. But I like Hood-Schifino. I think he'd be a good scoring depth for them off the bench. Remember when they were struggling early on in the season, their biggest thing was they couldn't knock down perimeter shots, the Lakers, and they had a hard time getting contributions outside LeBron James. And this is during the first half. Obviously, some guys picked it up better in the second half. I'm going to give this one a B in terms of their draft grade. I think Hood-Schifino is he could be a good role player for them.
There's actually let me just note two things with the starting lineup. D'Angelo Russell, free agent. Austin Reeves, free agents. And so is Dennis Schroeder off the bench. So Hood-Schifino could possibly be that guy who comes in the starting lineup immediately or comes off the bench for defensive contributions and playmaking. So not a bad pick. I'm going to go solid B, as you said. He could fit either into a starting lineup role immediately or a bench role. So with the next pick, we've got Jaime Jaquez Jr.
And this is for the Heat. And this is a guy that's very hardworking. And the Heat find a lot of these players. Notice if you look at their roster, a lot of their guys are undrafted or late first round picks, early second round picks. They find guys in gems and get the best out of them. I'm gonna go another B here. He's not much of a scorer. And there's probably better upside, but I do like this guy's work ethic. And you never know with those kind of players. You've had guys like, Kawhi Leonard and Jimmy Butler. Maybe not the most talented guys, but guys that just work on their game and
work ethic, grind. This is to what I feel and what you're describing. This is like a Miami Heat type pick.
Yeah, it really does feel like that. So that's why I'm going to give it a B.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a B as well. Solid pick all around, and it fits what they do well. Brandon Podziemski as a shooting guard for the Golden State Warriors, who just traded Jordan Poole away. I think I'm going to give this. I'm going to go A-. A-, not too bad.
Really? I'd say like a B minus. Not that I don't like the pick. Like I think it's like I think he's a very good catch and shoot guy. I think the fit's great. I just don't know if they really needed another guard as opposed to a big. Because I still don't
That's
know about
fair.
their front court.
Yeah, obviously Draymond Green's obviously a
Green-
free agent at the moment.
Green might test the market, although there's reports now saying that he might come back, which you almost had the feeling, but you weren't sure.
Right.
Yeah, remember Andrew Wiggins, he dealt with a lot of personal stuff this year. I don't know if anyone's ever read that story of what that man went through, but
I have not.
That's like I won't even spoil it for you, but go take a
Okay.
look at what happened to him this year. So you hope he comes back better. Because he missed like a crucial
Good
amount
chunk
of
of time.
Yeah. And
I like Wiggins though.
I think he's a good scorer in this league. I think he's a good third option.
Yeah.
But again, I think they could have improved. Who would start at center for them now? Would it be
Kevon Looney.
Looney still?
Yeah.
Like even he had a down-ish season. I would have liked them to upgrade somewhere in that front court.
Next up we have number 20. I think this is a major hit.
Oh.
Based on value, Cam Whitmore to the Rockets.
I mean, weren't people talking about this guy going like top 5?
And see, the thing is, what's ironic, John, is that we discussed on Thursday, I had him landing at 4 with the Rockets. Now you get him 16 picks later and just greater value. So
Yeah.
A all the way.
Yeah.
Just A, and A. Hopefully he develops into something, I hope.
Mhm.
But again, that's for Ime Udoka to decide. Was JHS an LBJ approved pick? I don't know. But anyways, regardless, we're going to move on to the Nets, both Derek Whitehead and Noah Clowney.
I like the Clowney pick a little better. And I know that's, it's funny, some Nets fans were liking the other pick better. But I like Clowney because he's a really good rebounder and he's someone with really good defense on the interior. He was a very good rim protector at Alabama, so I think that would be, something the Nets could have needed. And I don't think they've really truly had that other than maybe Nick Claxton. But
right,
I think that's something they lacked. And then with the Derek Whitehead pick, he's got some talent, and he's gotten much better as a shooter, but the medical issues, I think, have really, it's really a wild card with him. So it's a big gamble, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely big gamble. Like our buddy Jake Simone, obviously, he's like, what is Sean Marks opting to do? Is he opting to win now, or is he just going to try to build for the future? So Whitehead obviously was a chance pick because you mentioned the injuries. I think he broke his leg about a year ago, possibly, and he's on the comeback trail. Noah Clowney, obviously, you said he was a defensive 4, so kind of mixed on both picks. I'm not going to lie. I want to see where Clowney fits. I think he's possibly the backup 4 because you throw in Royce O'Neal as the starting power forward.
Although I feel like one of them might get moved.
No, I know. I think one of DFS or O'Neal's going to get moved eventually.
Yeah.
Or you could move Cam Johnson, re-sign him, move him to the 4, move O'Neal to the 3. And then you could possibly, or no, never mind. You could just throw Clowney in the backup 4. It's good depth, but I'm going to go B minus with honestly maybe even both picks.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on. Moving on to the next pick. Anyone? Let's see. Lively is still raw and isn't good offensively. Yeah, he's got a ways to go. Anyone think Dallas should have went with a better skilled center? He was the best center available, Jacob. If we look at the rankings,
when they did have a skilled big in Kristaps Porzingis, that didn't really work out so well. That's all I'll say.
I mean, you don't need too much. You need a defensive rim protector who could run the pick and roll. That's exactly what Lively is. Whitmore was a home run hitter. Yes, he was. And it was a home run generally for the Rockets.
Right.
But next pick, we've got Chris Murray to the Portland Trailblazers.
Now, remember, this is Keegan Murray's brother,
Yep.
who went in last year's draft. He was pick 5 or he was pick 4?
4 or 5.
4 or 5. I can't remember the exact pick. But, with Murray, he's a good shooter. He's very good at floor spacing, so I think that could help Portland out in their rebuild. And again, he's a big, so that also helps them because they do have a glut of guards. So I'll give this a B+ pick.
I'll give it an A- because I think he's a potential replacement for Jeremy Grant, in my opinion.
Yeah, they might move off Jeremy Grant.
I don't think Grant's re-signing. I'm not sure if Portland has the money, but regardless, Sacramento Kings, I think they traded this pick to Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they did. They traded Maxence Prosper and 24 to Dallas they traded 24 and Rashawn Holmes to Dallas. So, go ahead.
I was going to talk about the Maxence Prosper pick, and I had to do a little more research on him even after the draft. I have to say it's a pretty solid pick. A guy that can, assuming you re-sign Kyrie, I'm not sure if they will. But a guy that could hit shots. He's got some athleticism, which I think Dallas really did lack too. Something that's not talked about. You talk about the spacing of the defense. They really don't have that many athletic high flyers, and he may not be a high flyer, but he's got some good athleticism, which is you need that on a team. Every team.
He also does the dirty work, though. I think it's going to help.
Everyone needs that. That's right.
That's going to help with the Mavericks' identity, I believe. So I think we're going to give it like a solid B+.
You saw it in this year's finals with Braun on the Nuggets. That's maybe he's that kind of player, but we'll see.
More of the grit and hustle type. So this pick, I believe, is going to the Detroit Pistons.
Yes.
Marcus Sasser. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't know much to make of this pick because he's probably just going to be stuffed on the bench because you have Killian Hayes. I don't know who that's right. Their backup shooting guard is actually Alec Burks, and there's probably a chance he picks up the option. So it's a stuffed bench pick, I guess I would call it. You stuff him on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's like a B-. B-. Yeah.
Prosper's sister plays for Notre Dame basketball. Awesome.
That's fine.
Good. I mean, obviously Notre Dame is my football team, but I don't really watch much of the basketball team. Not much as I used to, as should I say. Dallas got probably the most athletic big man, two most athletic big men in the draft with Derek Lively and Maxence Prosper. Makes sense. John, we're sending Kyrie Irving on the first SpaceX to the moon from Houston in hopes it explodes. Kyrie is not wanted in Dallas amongst the fan base. Who wants Kyrie Irving, realistically?
I don't think anyone.
But regardless, we'll move to number 26, Ben Shepherd out of Belmont.
I give this a C+, just because it's funny. Supposedly he's a good shot maker, but his free throws are horrible. I don't understand that. And then combine that in, he's okay defensively, but it's just he's a weird player to evaluate. Plus, he played at Belmont, so it's not a
of course
high
that's not
level college. So it's kind of hard. I thought it was a bit of a reach here for this guy.
Yeah, I'll go C, just a straight C on this one. Next up, we've got a complete fall of this player, but a nice value pick here for Charlotte. Nick Smith Jr. Probably in a bench role, most realistically for Charlotte.
I love this pick here. I think this is a good possible. Maybe this is their 6th or 7th man. I give it an A-. Remember, you get Brandon Miller in this draft. Now you get Nick Smith, who's got very good upside. I know he had the knee injury that hurt him. But I do like his ability to score and his talent. So, and getting him at 27, take a chance. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. Especially a great value pick. I'm going to go A, straightforward. You get a score behind LaMelo Ball and a backup point guard with little assurances. So, and in the most likely event that Scary Terry's probably gone. Right. So that makes sense. Number 28, Bryce Sensabaugh for the Utah Jazz.
So I like the value here. I question the fit a little bit, especially after you drafted. I think they already had drafted another guard earlier, if I'm not mistaken. It was
Keontae
George. So a little bit question the fit, but again, good value here. That's why I'm giving it a B because it's late first round. Maybe you're just trying to pick up any value you can. He's a good scorer, Sensabaugh. He was a good scorer with Ohio State.
B as well. 29, Julian Strother from Gonzaga, small forward for the Pacers. Now, wait, hold on a second. I'll double check that because this was, I think, a trade. No, wait.
No, this was
went to the Nuggets. It went to the Nuggets. I stand corrected. So, what do you think of Strother? Now, Bruce Brown is set to be a free agent, so is Jeff Green. The possibility of losing both of them. I like the Nuggets retaining some of their young talent.
He's a shooter, this guy. And like you said, he's probably just a replacement player. Maybe a C+, B- with this pick. Not good defensively from what I've read on him, but
I think we'll go B-.
Yeah.
And the final pick, Kobe Brown, power forward out of Missouri for the Clippers.
I like this pick on the value. B+, I'd give it. Last pick in the first round is a guy who's got a good jumper. And he's actually pretty good defensively because he can guard the bigger bodies. Especially I'd say he has more of an NBA frame, but then again, it helps him playing a small ball too to maybe take advantage of some mismatches. So
Okay.
I'd say maybe an A- just because last pick in the first round, take a shot.
Okay, so with that, we'll stop that right there. Just want to get to a couple of comments before we move on to our next thing before we end off. Dallas with their bigs that they picked up and will probably end up as only as far as the Western Conference semifinals, no further than that unless they add valuable free agents. Completely agree.
Yeah.
I would say the Hornets and Rockets had best value overall. I'd say the Rockets kind of won this draft just based on young talent alone. Like, I don't want to create bias because they have so much young talent based off of, all the guys they already had already. But Whitmore was a steal at 20, and they had Eamon Thompson, who's going to fit into the lineup. Like, I don't want to say seamlessly because we just addressed his shooting issues, but that's going to be a very fun young team to watch, especially with a good coach around them.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought to end off our basketball segment, we're obviously Knicks fans here. We are going to manage the roster for free agency. And if you want to do another trade, we can do that as well. This is Spot Track's managed roster. We've got everything here. We've got our upcoming free agents here too. Derrick Rose, Miles McBride, Josh Hart, all those guys. So salary cap tables over here, the active contracts, multi-year salary. I think we should make this I think it's simple for all of us. But, John, what is your vision? What do you want the Knicks to add this offseason?
Well, some shooting in the front court would be nice for better spacing. Maybe a backup guard in case we don't sign everyone, but we got to see what we do with our own guys.
Okay.
You already heard the news that obviously Derrick Rose is no longer he's going to be a free agent. So
unless you sign him to a minimum contract, which I don't think will come back on.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to go somewhere else.
I just pulled a Brian talking on mute, but any chance we could trade Mitch in this process? And is this like according to our own stuff, like what we want to do, or what's realistic?
We could do a little bit, but we could kind of do two scenarios possibly.
Okay.
Did I hear it correctly? Yes, they did sign the other Toppin, which is
yes, that's correct.
To me, weird. A conflict of interest because I think they want to trade Toppin, but regardless,
I do.
Do you guys want to do what's most realistic, or do you want to do our own version of what we would do?
Maybe most realistic.
We'll go with most realistic first. So, in all likelihood, let's be fair. I think they keep Mitch Robinson. I think they keep Julius Randle. Josh Hart, I think, gets retained, but we also have to note this because they've extended his player option deadline till about Thursday. The day literally right before the draft. The free agency period. So I think if they pick up the option, it gives them the full non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which is about $12 million for at least one player. So overall, are you picking up that? If you're Josh Hart, are you picking up that $12 million on the table, or are you signing, or are you picking up that option, and are you going to give him a contract further down the line, like an extension?
Well, many weren't impressed with his playoffs appearance. Well, not appearance, but performance rather. So, do you think teams are like kind of looking? And I'm asking the both of you. Do you think teams are more looking in on that? Or are they looking at Josh Hart to be the reason the Knicks were pushing for the playoffs and they went in?
I know the damn helicopter.
The hell?
Are you flying helicopters again, John?
Yeah, I had it sent that one to Showalter's house. The next one's going to Epler. But as I was saying, I think it's imperative the Knicks keep Josh Hart, number one, because he was a glue guy, and we really weren't winning basketball games until he came to us in the lineup.
Yeah, we were still about 500.
And he helped us with the push. So I'm in agreement there.
Like the reason I'm asking is because could teams give him more money than $12 million? And he might.
There's a possibility because
It's
I'll tell you why, Alex. Because the cap's going up this year, you could see him get a contract of around $16 to $18 million for just a role player alone off the bench. So the cap's going to go up, and the salaries and what players want is just going to go up. So. John, how do we handle this? Alex, if you want input, you can have input as well. John, what are we doing with Josh Hart?
It's a player option, right?
It is a player option. First of all, we got to click manage the roster because that would be.
If you want my opinion, in this realistic scenario, so-called, I think he's gonna test free agency. Now you could obviously debate yourself because of what I just put out. But also like the fact that Jalen Brunson is there. But if you're saying that he could get a contract between 16 to 18 mil, I mean, it's kind of a win-win for him because even if he doesn't get the 16, 18 mil, he always has the fallback Knicks maybe give him some money because
I think there's going to be a little. I agree with you what you're saying, Alex. I think there might be. I'm not going to say he's going to take a discount with the Knicks, but I think he feels at home here almost.
Okay.
So
I think he likes it here too. I think he likes playing with Jalen Brunson. I think he's going to pick up the option for 1 year.
Okay. Now, would you sign him to a contract long term, or are you going to wait another year?
Well, I think Hart might want, because you said the cap's going up. I think he may want to wait another year. To max out as much as he can.
Okay, so we're going to exercise the player option there. I'm just going to go down bottom real quick to see if there's any. Nope, we can't renounce any contracts, so there's not much money we could free up. So with this exercise the player option, we could go out and sign at least one free agent.
What about trading Evan Fournier? Well, that actually, I don't know if is that any relevance now because we didn't trade anything during the draft. We didn't have really any assets to I mean, yeah, we do for the future, like how many first round picks we have. So is that still in reality?
You can definitely trade Evan Fournier and attach an asset. I just don't know what teams are interested in him right now. It's a very good point.
Much of a market. I really doubt it.
I'll look at the latest news and the latest stories.
I think him and the
Spurs
are the most realistic in terms of trading.
You got the Spurs that are interested. I'll look for other hoops through this for hoops rumors. Fournier. All I see is the Spurs right now. Obviously, they're a rebuilding organization, so they could afford to take one of the take a bad contract, I guess, and they don't have a lot of money on the table.
And if they're rebuilding, we could just attach a pick or two.
Yeah. I'm gonna run this through Trade Machine first, so I'm just gonna pull up the Spurs here real quick. I know we're focusing on the Spot Track tab, but I want to make sure this works salary wise. But also, we have to make the salaries work, guys. Fournier is getting about $18 million over the next 2 years per year. So, what contract do we take back?
Well, let's see. Do they have any? Do they have any? I mean, I'm just trying to get a glimpse here. Do they have any forwards that we would be interested in? Because remember, if we're gonna trade Obi Toppin, I mean, we'll need some sort of a placeholder, unless you guys don't think so.
I think they'll trade Toppin. I got to see where. I know, obviously, the Pacers were probably previously interested. I doubt that interest is still there. I'm going to look at the Spurs depth chart because obviously that's going to help. They have Jeremy Sochan. But I think the Knicks are going to want to trade Obi Toppin to a place where he could start effectively. And I don't think San Antonio's
No. I'm not saying trade Toppin to the Spurs. I'm saying, like, and it once again, it doesn't make any sense because like the in real time, the leverage is going to go down for the Knicks. But let's just say you deal Fournier for a power forward on a separate team, and then you trade Toppin. That's kind of, I know the leverage is bad, but I'm not saying trade power forward for power forward. Like, do you
What
get the
about?
vision?
No, I understand what you're saying. What about a trade for OG Anunoby? John, are you up for it? Just throwing it out there. Because you could package Toppin and Fournier and make the money work.
That would be good. I would love to. I think that's actually not a bad idea because if you're thinking of money wise, although I think we might have to throw in a first to get Anunoby.
Yeah, so we're gonna go, and obviously messing with Masai Ujiri is quite the experience. So we are going to go to the Raptors. Here we go. So Anunoby's getting about $18 million over the next 2 years. I'll share this right now. Here we are, $18.6 million over the next course 2 years. So Fournier is about $18.8 million. So they're like $0.2 million over.
Now
should
here's
I
the
say.
question: how much
Okay.
playing time does Anunoby require? Because you're going to have Julius. Well, actually, no, that's a small forward technically, and that's not
Anunoby would
Julius.
effectively place Grimes in the starting lineup.
Uh,
And you could that's considered upgrade because Anunoby, he's a 3-and-D guy.
Okay,
It's true.
So-
Grimes
so, I mean-
would be fine off the bench.
all right, yeah, okay, I'll take that then because I know Grimes obviously sucked in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I'm not like Matt who's gonna hold it against him. But yeah, so we got the money here. We got $18.8 million incoming for the Raptors, $18.6 million incoming for the Knicks. Trading Obi Toppin. Now I'm gonna double check the depth chart once again for the Raptors.
Why don't I do it? I want to.
Okay, please do. Don't do ESPN because for some reason their depth
What do you
chart-
recommend?
You could you go by lineups. It's like lineups.com or something like
Oh, I
that.
see. Okay, and what position you want to look for?
I want to look at power forward, see who's projected to start.
You have Pascal Siakam, Tadeus Young, and Ron Harper Jr.
Okay, so he would not start in it sucks because he wouldn't even start in he would not start in San Antonio. He would not start in Toronto because Barnes, unless he plays small forward, you know what? Right. To think about it, he wouldn't even play small forward anyway because Pascal Siakam is still there effectively. So
By the way, I just want to shout out two giant goofballs in New York Giants podcast in the chat. What is up, y'all?
So this is tough. Unless like you have to attach because Obi Toppin again is not going to start. Like it'd have to be some rebuilding team, or you know what, or unless you
What
want
are
to
you looking to it? Like, you're looking to attach something? Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm looking to move Obi Toppin to a place where he could start, but I don't think that's possible anymore. To be fair,
What about the Clippers?
the Clippers. Okay, I'm going to pull up their depth chart.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, is John suggesting a trade for Paul George for minimal assets?
I mean, if you want to do the route, I don't want to give up so much for him.
No. I agree with you. It's that I have my level of concerns. Again, I would trade for Paul George as long as the assets that you want to trade are low. If the Clippers want, like 70,000 first round picks quickly, this, and this, I'm like, fuck no, off the table.
All right. So what do you want out of the depth chart?
Who is stupid question? Who's their starting power forward?
Nicholas Batum, then Marcus Morris, and Amir Coffey.
Morris is gone effectively, if I'm not mistaken. I could double check that. Morris, I think, is gone. He's with the.
Okay. You're right.
No, he's still with the Clippers. Apparently,
He's not a free agent.
But I don't think he is. I don't think Morris is a free agent. But he's not getting playing time regardless. So it's tough to find a fit for Obi Toppin. I'll look at other teams that are interested in his services.
What about Portland?
Portland.
I'll do it.
Okay, please do. Toppin. I'm just going to look at other news, see what
Drew
teams are
Eubanks,
interested.
starting
Would you
power forward.
would you go after maybe Jeremy Grant?
Two things. Eubanks is a free agent. I don't know if he'll resign. I think I'll look up the rumors regarding that.
Behind Eubanks is Nasir Little and Jabari Walker.
Little's probably coming off the bench. So if you put Eubanks at the 4, don't forget Chris Murray was also drafted, so he could start effectively, unless they throw Chris Murray at the 3, which is possible. I'll just double check. Murray can play either power forward or small forward, but again, they have an abundance of wings, which is also another issue. But Jeremy Grant, you'd have to, in my opinion, John, you would have to move Julius Randle because Grant wants the sky, the sun, the sky, and the stars. He wants at least was it $30 million a year?
Okay, I mean, yeah, that probably makes some sense. I'm just trying to think of areas of teams needing in the front court. Who's starting for the Hawks now that Collins is gone?
Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
It also depends. Let me just say this, John, on the identity that they want to establish, because they've actually got 3 good defenders in the lap, so you could forego having Johnson in the starting lineup, and then you could throw Obi Toppin in because here's their
Luka once he's done.
Because their bench could look like this: Okongwu, the backup center, Johnson, Jalen Johnson, their backup 4. Backup 3 would be AJ Griffin. Backup 2 would be Kobe Buffkin. And then they could sign a point guard, whoever the hell it is. And then you could throw Obi Toppin, who could run with Trae Young. He'd be like that another pick and roll scorer. And he could be another stretch big, possibly. So I actually kind of see the fit with Atlanta. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay.
Now, but the thing I was going to bring up real quick is that I'm just looking at try to find some destinations, and Daily Knicks proposed, and I don't know if you saw this, Luca. This is way towards the first part of the month. Toppin to the Pacers for Chris Duarte and a pick.
Toppin wouldn't start there because they just drafted Jarris Walker. Duarte, I understand because he's kind of a buy low kind of guy because he struggled last season. That's the same thing with like Jonathan Kuminga from the Warriors. You're going to buy low on him unless somehow Steve Kerr says, you know what, fuck it, we'll trade for Obi Toppin, which I don't think will be the case. So I think the Hawks are kind of a decent bet. But and also another report mentioned actually by Woj, everybody's available except Trae Young.
Okay.
So John, help me work this trade.
Well, they didn't update it because John Collins is still there.
Right.
Which is kind of an issue for salary.
Unless how about this? Wait. Unless we could just reconstruct the Utah Jazz trade like right this second.
Okay, that would be smart. So it was Rudy Gay and
John Collins, obviously. And what were the assets, you know?
I'll pull it up.
You got it, Alex?
Yeah,
he's going to pull it up.
I'll answer Sunil's
I didn't know Rudy Gay's a Brooklyn kid. Anyway.
Yeah.
I forgot.
So future second round pick to the Hawks in exchange for John Collins, along with Rudy Gay.
Any year on that second round pick? Because I don't think it was too high.
I'll look on Twitter. Let's see.
Sunil says Jeremy Grant effectively wants a Kyrie Irving payday. Not sure who will give it to him. Yeah, but you have to remember the cap is going up.
I don't have a year on that second round pick, unfortunately.
Do they not announce it? Hold up.
I mean, for sake of trade, you could probably just throw in any second round pick. Just to get him off the roster.
I just want to double check with my things. Just give me a sec. Well, it says the future, so we're going to do 2026 second rounder.
Fair enough.
Just to get him off the roster for scenario purposes.
Yeah, Memphis. Here we go. Trade to the Hawks. Success. There we go.
All right. So now he's off the books. Great. So now we can go back to the Knicks.
I just want to see if there's any way I can keep him on the roster. Wait, I think there's actually wait. I'm trying to think here because I could also adjust the roster on Spot Track because Spot Track is going to be a little more updated. So,
Okay. So
I'm
we'll
going
do
to stop.
exactly the same thing.
All right, so I'm going to move to Spot Track real quick, and I'm going to go on the Hawks roster.
By the way, thank you, Giant Goofballs, for liking. And also, we're 3 likes away from 20. We appreciate y'all being here. It's been 2 hours and 40 minutes already. So,
all right, so we are on the Hawks roster effectively. It's updated, by the way, so we're all good. All right, let's see. Again, you can't really include draft picks with this one, but you could write it down in the trade itself. So all right. So we'll make a trade, right? Make a standard trade.
now let me ask a question. I know this is multitasking, but could you possibly conduct the trade via the trade machine, see if it is a success, and then just put it on Spot Track without the draft picks?
We can actually check on here because it will line up the salaries, Alex.
All right.
So, John, help me out with this trade. We're going to trade Obi Toppin, obviously. What are we going to get in return?
Well, we also should we throw Fournier on the table on this one or no? Should we even consider that?
I think it's a separate trade.
That's kind of counterproductive because they just cleared all this money from the Collins extension.
That's true. Okay.
We could do that in a separate entity.
All right, so I'm going to have to squint here to friggin' look at the roster.
This is their salaries. Unless you want to just take Rudy Gay off their hands.
No.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously we're not getting Trae Young. Clint Capella is someone we don't need because we have.
What's our target out of this trade?
We want to. I mean, we could obviously trade for a backup 4, but we want to eventually we want to match the salaries. Okay. But we just want to get rid of Obi Toppin for decent value, whether that's a second round pick, which is probably his value at the moment.
Any chance we? I don't know. Again, I don't know how possible this is. Any chance we could take bums and then just buy out their contracts?
Like just grab like, you know what?
It adds up to $6 million.
Like trading for like end of the bench rotation pieces, like guys who are just going to sit there. I understand where you're coming from, but these guys also got player options, which is interesting. So I don't think you're going to add Fernando because you already have 3 centers already. Why have 4?
Would you
go ahead?
Would you go after Sadiq Bey?
Everybody's on the table as per Woj, but I would be up to adding Sadiq Bey.
Okay.
But again, if we're going to do this Anunoby trade, and Tibbs obviously likes his 10-man rotations, Bey obviously would come off the bench, but you can't really trade for Anunoby and Sadiq Bey at once.
All right, that's fair.
So we could choose either or, honestly.
Well, I thought we were stopping on the Anunoby trade.
Oh, you don't? No, we don't have to trade for him.
But we just need someone to match the salary with Fournier.
So then,
Let me go into the trade machine again.
Trading machine. This is tough. God damn it. Being a general manager is tough.
Yeah, and the Spurs are interested in Evan Fournier's services. But again, the problem with the Spurs is they don't have like a Jagunda contract.
Yeah.
Or John. Do you remember Doogie McBuckets?
Doogie McBucket. Are you talking about Doug
McDermott?
Yeah, I remember him.
He's got a decent chunk of money for 1 year left on his contract.
Okay, but then we got to get something back, right?
Well, of course. McDermott averaged 41% from 3 last year.
Dougie McBuckets, return of the Knicks. What was he on that Tim Hardaway team?
Yes. So, do you want to hold on? Let me just no. The money I don't think would add up necessarily, but the Spurs, I should say the only money they're locked into is the contracts of Devontae Graham, which is only 2 years, 12 million a year. It's like we give them some salary relief, but we don't at the same time, which is interesting.
Yeah, maybe not then.
Okay.
I don't know if they would take it.
Okay.
Is there even a trade? Like I don't even know what else the Knicks could trade.
It's Toppin and Fournier. Those guys are the
Those
only
are the
two
only
in my.
two.
So I'm gonna look at heavy because they have a projected trade here. Possibly projected trade. This trade would send Evan Fournier to the Jazz for Malik Beasley. No, I'm sorry. That was a previous entity. Oh boy. I mean, there was a possibility last year that we could have traded Fournier for Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt.
I mean, can we do that now?
I mean, I don't see why they would move off of
I know.
I mean, I would agree, but I just don't see why they would move off of Vanderbilt and Beasley, especially they helped them make the playoffs.
Maybe the Knicks don't even make a trade.
Because realistically, they're going to trade Fournier both Toppin off this offseason. They're not going to keep both.
I see Toppin as more of a tradable asset just because who the hell wants Fournier's contract?
Therefore, we'll just move over Toppin.
Okay.
Any team that needs team that needs possibly a power forward who's going to get more minutes. Oh God. Maybe maybe the Hawks is not such a bad idea, but they're adding about $8 million in salary, $6 million. Sorry, I'm sorry. So
is there anyone around $8 million that we could take back that may have some value? Like
$6 million. You got Rudy Gay, then you have Sadiq Bey, AJ Griffin, Jalen Johnson, Bruno Fernando.
Like I would like Sadiq Bey.
Or, would you trade for DeAndre Hunter?
I guess they're both kind of the same in terms of well, how big is the contract for Hunter?
I'm gonna look that up for you.
Well, this is $20 million for the cap.
Hunter, I don't think they gave him an extension yet, if I'm not mistaken. He's obviously not an all-star player, but he's 3-and-D. That's what he exemplifies.
Yeah, I would do it.
And we would trade him for Fournier?
Try to match the salaries, yes, because he does have an extension. 4 years, $90 million, which is around $22 million a year. Now, with the salary cap going up, that actually contract kind of makes sense. So,
I would throw in Toppin and Fournier in this deal.
Okay, so Fournier outgoing, we're going to add DeAndre Hunter. And let's see if the salaries match. The aggregate outgoing salaries are more than $19 million. Therefore, the incoming salaries are not allowed to exceed 125% plus 100,000. The incoming salaries are 125% greater plus 100,000. So
this is Monopoly type shit.
You know what? Let's do this on Fanspo. Again, back to the drawing board.
Not trade machine?
Yeah, we're doing the trade machine now because it's a little bit easier and it's clearer English.
I just want to get some comments real quick. Fun fact:
right ahead.
Rudy Gay went to UConn. Could also end up with Frankie Cigarettes back, aka Frankie.
No.
By the way,
his
AJ
overhyped ass
going to be really good.
I think so too.
More as well. With the Mavs draft picks, could Nico Harrison bite for him? Meaning Jeremy Grant. It's a depth move since Powell is gone. Cracklenut says he was hit by a pitch and he needs a sniper.
I told that pitcher to hit you.
All right.
Also as well, that's why they pay GMs a lot because John was talking about complaining as a GM. Sign me up, few years of stress and enough money to live off for the rest of my life. Angry John and Epler.
No, Sunil, if that's the case, you're Cashman then.
Trade Mitch. All right. So we got Luker?
Oh, so we have the trade machine up. Just checking my notifications, but so we're going to include Evan Fournier,
And Obi.
Andre Hunter, and then we'll add Obi Toppin in as well.
All right. So now what are we saying salary wise?
Incoming $20 million, outgoing $25 million. So they need at least around $4 or $5 million of cap relief left.
All right. Is there anyone else that I'm sorry, you said we need to take on or they need to take on?
We need to take on about $4 or $5 million.
Is there anyone in, that they could get rid of? 4 or 5 million. Oh, that is. What about
So wait, they got it said. I mean, might be wrong. They got 3 small forwards. You got Sadiq Bey, there was AJ Griffin, and there was another one as well.
Jalen Johnson.
Right, but we're also getting one.
Yeah.
And that would replace Grimes, and we're not trading Grimes. Unless, but I don't think that's a trade to do that.
Yeah, I'm stuck right now because we're not obviously trading for Bay. Bay would be ideal, but we don't have enough room for him. Roster-wise, not money-wise.
Would it be AJ Griffin?
That would be weird, too, because unless you want to ship off Quentin Grimes.
Is he? And Grimes is probably better than Griffin, right?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that because
know.
we haven't seen Grimes at his full, nor Griffin. It's kind of an unfair comparison. Same draft, though, actually. No, wait. No, it's not the same draft. 2 different drafts. Griffin was just a rookie last year.
Mm-hmm.
Griffin's more of a stationary shooter. He's not. I think he'll do some cutting, but Grimes is a little more active with the cutting and off-ball movement stuff.
Okay.
I think Grimes would succeed in this scenario in Atlanta because that offense is a little more.
Maybe there's not a trade to be made right now with Atlanta.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. Hold on.
Because we wouldn't get Bay in this deal. Everyone else above him is pretty much too much salary.
I'm just trying to think real quickly. So we are getting DeAndre Hunter, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And who would he be taking whose spot?
Quentin. No, he would be taking Quentin Grimes in the starting lineup.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think. And maybe try to be devil's advocate in terms of this trade. DeAndre Hunter right now in the starting lineup, upgrade over Quentin Grimes, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Ship off Quentin Grimes for a backup, which obviously would be one of those 3, I guess, for shits and giggles, AJ Griffin. You said obviously you don't know that Grimes is a little bit more versatile in terms of cutting in the paint and just off-ball movement. That's correct.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be an even team beneficiary for the sake of salary and for the sake of players to take both of those guys, Griffin and Hunter, because Grimes is going to succeed more and get more playing time with the Hawks?
It would be more beneficiary to what? I'm sorry?
For both sides. Because
it would be kind of level, yes.
Exactly. So that's like my point of trying to make this trade. Yes, it's given up Grimes, and I know maybe a lot of Knicks fans would not be happy with this trade, but I'm just saying for the sake. And again, don't get mad at us. We didn't sign friggin' Evan Fournier $18 million fucking dollars, but I'm just saying you have to give up. And I'm not saying you have to give up both of these guys, and you also have to add something as well. I think it's level for both teams, me personally, based off what you guys are telling me. So. I'll leave it up to you guys. I'll leave it up to you guys.
I'll add in the draft picks. So, John, what are we giving up? Remember, we're giving up for DeAndre
probably
Hunter.
Ask for a first back.
I'd say 1 or 2, honestly, because they're taking on Fournier.
Maybe throw in 1, and if they don't like it, throw in 2, and that's it.
Yeah. It's going to have to be draft picks because I don't think there's much other value.
I'm going to throw a 2024, was this Detroit?
Cracklenut says Knicks don't need to get a bad star fit, just play it out. Well, I mean, this is for the sake of just getting rid of Evan Fournier's contract. See, there you go.
Okay.
I'd say they would ask for another first, but the second is for acquiring Hunter and Griffin.
Would you now? This is just an off-tier question, kind of dealing with the trade as well. I know you. I'm gonna guess that the Knicks fans, at least most of them, because of the love for Quentin Grimes, would probably hate this. But would you screen? If I'll leave it up to you if you want to screenshot it and
I'll save
put
it.
it on
I'll
put it
save
on Twitter
Save
and
it.
say, would you do this trade?
All right, snapshot. There we go.
Yes, Luker from Hoboken. What's going on, Luker?
All right, so we've essentially done that trade. That means we can move on to Spot Track. I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. We're going to put in the details of the trade.
Okay.
Being a GM sucks.
Yeah.
That's the one lesson we can all take from this.
All right, so here we are. Atlanta. Oh, wait, hold on. This is the Knicks. Make a trade, standard trade. Atlanta Hawks. Here we go. So, AJ Griffin, you're gone. DeAndre Hunter, you're gone. Evan Fournier, you're gone.
Obi Toppin and Quentin Grimes are gone.
We're all green.
All right. So the fucking draft picks don't even matter.
Nope. You could just write it in if you want to, but I don't think you can. Let's process the trade. All right, so now this is what we are left with. Now, I believe we still have that mid-level exception, but we're gonna project the starting lineup. So it would be Brunson, Barrett, Hunter, Randall, and Robinson. Now, I'm just gonna say this: there's a lot of money inserted into the starting lineup. Everybody is a big contract.
You know what? Honestly, good. I'm going to say good. You know why? Because obviously, okay, maybe not. Because I'm just trying to think. I had like that splits. I kind of put myself in a time machine for 20 seconds, less than, and I went back to when we were all mad at Tom Thibodeau and stuff like that. But, I mean, I'm just like, yes, it's good that we have this money inserted in the starting lineup for the reason that it puts pressure on the GM and it puts pressure on the coaching staff to kind of make that next step, but also not because, I mean, pressure and if they fail.
Here's the thing: if Hunter gets better, you could possibly use him as an asset for a trade.
Okay, yeah, essentially. So
that's the same thing with like probably anybody in this lineup.
Now have we filled all our needs? Because I'm pretty sure with that trade.
Let's go over the starting lineup, shall we? So, point guard, Jalen Brunson. Shooting guard, R.J. Barrett. Small forward, DeAndre Hunter. Power forward, Julius Randle. Mitchell Robinson at center. Hartenstein, the backup center. We need a starting power forward. No, I'm sorry, not starting power forward. Backup power forward. Small forward, backup,
AJ Griffin.
Josh Hart, we've already retained, and Emmanuel Quickly. So, we just need a backup.
Isn't he a free agent?
No,
he's not.
Not till next year. Plus,
sorry,
he needs
I'm thinking ahead of myself.
It's all right.
And
so we could sign a free agent.
Or sign a free agent or make a trade, but I don't know that you want to trade for a backup.
Yeah, I think we're just going to sign someone in free agency.
All right, so we'll go to the free agent list. Now, we have the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which is going to allow us about $12 million. And we're going to use that to sign our backup power forward. Just give it about a second. It's loading.
Do. Mets lose. Toodaloo. Do. Mets lose.
Just play the friggin' Jeopardy theme song. Da, na, 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 na. No, 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 no.
Let me see. Hopefully, he doesn't screw up my roster. Please pray.
What up, Jigga Man?
What's going on, brother?
Perfect timing. We're doing a Knicks off season. Perfect timing for him.
Okay, let's try this again.
No.
Oh God, is this gonna crash on us like that?
I swear, all I want to do is sign a free agent. That's one free agent, and it's a taxpayer. It's a non-taxpayer mid-level exception. So,
oh my God,
Of course,
That's-
this would probably be what the final part, and of course, we're stuck on it.
Yes, it is literally the last part. Literally the last part. You know what? We'll stop. I want to stop sharing this for a second and make sure it works. Okay.
Do you want? I was about to say. Do you? Oh, you want me to do it? But anyway.
Hold on.
Jigga Man says, "Nice Jets jersey. Did you see the Revis drama today?"
I did. Luca told me about it. I still love Reba. I don't care.
Still loading
on the Knicks. Of course, Sunil is asking.
Still fucking loading.
Oh my god! What a bum site.
Oh wait! Oh, it loaded for a second. I accidentally refreshed it.
Luca.
All right. We're back in business. We are back in business. Let's go to the Knicks. We are back in business.
Did it cancel out the trade?
No.
Okay, good. Because if it did, I'm pretty sure me and John would have fucking killed you.
Okay, let's go to power forward, shall we?
All right.
These are options. Think about it. Mid-level exception, your backup 4. A guy who's not going to earn a lot of money, but he's going to fill your role as a defensive stretch big.
Well, these are all top-line starters now.
Sarge is not a starter. Hachimura is not a starter. Washington is a starter. Jeff Green's not a starter. He's also 36. Yeah. Porzingis, obviously, he just picked up his player option, so it doesn't really matter. Draymond is a starter. Jeremy Grant's a starter. Harrison Barnes is a starter.
Washington starter.
Yep, I just mentioned that. Darius Baisley, not a fit, my opinion. So
is this it in terms of power forwards? Oh, scroll down.
Could we get away with Griffin playing as a backup power forward and looking for a small forward?
Let me look at his size. Let me look how tall he is. He is 6'6". No.
Yeah, it's too small.
I'm looking at, let's see here. We have Kenyon Martin Jr. club option, obviously. I'm looking at a few guys. We've got Georges Niang, who is electric from deep. I'm going to give you his percentages and where he ranks. He's not a good. The one thing is he's not a very good defender. He's a liability.
That's in a tip system. I don't like that. But then again, if he's coming off the bench,
yeah, that's what they said about Toppin too. I don't think Niang is going to get the short leash because he's a veteran. I think he's going to. I think Tibbs is going to pull out some bullshit like that.
Right, and that's a bad thing if he doesn't play any defense. He'll be on the floor more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. Now, one name that is, I'm thinking of. Let me just go down a little bit more. Keita Bates-Diop has been mentioned with Knicks Film School. Obviously, I think he was somehow associated with Thibodeau or someone in the Knicks organization. So he's a stretch big, but he doesn't shoot a lot of threes. That 39% is a little misleading.
Yeah. And what are we looking at for just the most important part, obviously, out of a backup? What are we looking for a backup? Was it power forward? Like, what do you like? What's the trait you're looking at?
Basically, shooting and defense. Now, I have one in mind. I'm just going to check the rest. JaMychal Green would give you shooting and defense. Shot 37% off the 3 this year, 54% from the field. Okay. Johnson did not play a lot. Let me check how many games JaMychal Green played because I don't want a guy who was out of the rotation.
Is Isaiah Mobley Evan Mobley's brother?
Isaiah Mobley, I think so.
Yeah.
Green is 6'8". He played about 57 games. I want to see how many games he played in the playoffs, though. Didn't get a lot of minutes, which is kind of concerning in the playoffs. So we might just pass on JaMychal Green. One guy who also didn't get a lot of minutes in the playoffs, but I think I would be up to is Jay Crowder.
By the way, we're at 20 likes, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Was Crowder not a free agent? This is interesting. Yes, he is. How about this, John? Him or Torrey Craig? I like both, honestly. Craig can play defense, too.
I like Torrey Craig a lot.
Yeah, but don't we need power forward?
Yeah, Craig's a power forward.
Craig can play a power forward.
I'm just looking at...
I know. They're listed as both. They could do both.
They can do both.
Craig is 6'7", and Crowder is
6'8", I think.
6'6", actually. So
6, okay.
now I will say this: also, Craig played a lot more. than Crowder, because
Yeah,
remember Crowder had that dispute with the Suns. That's why he didn't play the first half.
I love Torrey Craig's defense, especially on the perimeter. Hell yeah, sign me up for that.
So we're going to use our non-taxpayer mid-level exception and sign Torrey Craig.
All right,
There
boom, baby.
That's your New York.
Now
Knicks
let me
next
ask this. Let me see something. Release your stretch. All right, we'll just 1-year contract. That's it.
Yeah, no, that for a backup, that's pretty much that.
So I'd say so far with realistic expectation, this is how we fix the lineup for this year, the Knicks roster this year. Realistically.
You could screenshot it.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? So I'm going to stop sharing, then I'll screenshot.
All right. Anything after this?
No, I think we completed our NBA segment, and I think this was really fun despite being a hella complicated.
Yeah.
Friggin' thing wouldn't load.
That was of course it had to be the last one.
All right.
But with that being said, while Lucas screenshots whatever, John, final thoughts.
Well, what do you know? The Mets lose another ball game. Not surprised at all. Probably 9.5 back, 9 back of the wild card. Who cares? I don't care anymore. They're feeble. Congratulations. But I got 2 off seasons to worry about, and hopefully training camp with the way the Mets play hopefully training camp football comes in feels like 3 days instead of months away. So, but thank you all for joining us tonight. And don't forget that we have the Friday off-season show for the NBA because that is the first day of NBA free agency.
That says, let's go.
Yeah,
Mets.
I'm sending a helicopter to your house. I can sense the sarcasm.
Sunil says, you guys are going on 3 hours now. Damn, son. Crackle Nuts, I have a question, and you don't have to answer right now. You can actually answer next time we're on. Are you going to the after party is the big question. You're going to the after party. But the details have been released for that. You guys are going on 3 hours now, damn son. Yeah, I mean, usually between 2.5, 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. That's what usually we do. Because we, obviously have a lot of things to discuss, and we love talking with you guys. So, Luca, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I'm just going to ask John a quick question. Would you be interested in Shake Milton as a bench piece?
Over Craig or just like...
Just in general. Forget what we did.
I would do, yeah. Decent.
Okay. Because he's been recently linked to the Knicks as well as Dante DiVincenzo. But thank you guys for joining us just in general. It was a strenuous process, me and John and Alex being the Brock Allers, Leon Roses, and William Wesleys of the Knicks front office. I think we got to do some, I don't know if we'll do anything beforehand. But Friday, we'll be doing our NBA free agency live stream. We'll react to all the news coming out, all the trades, all the different stuff. So keep it here, especially over the next 2 weeks.
Like, comment, subscribe to all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications, and live stream pops your drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Have another roster bubble video out every single day. As Luca and John have already detailed, Friday is the free agent show. Sunday, we got a doubleheader, Yankees Cards in the afternoon and Mets Giants at night. And a lot more where that came from. We'll also post some updates about some merch within the next 48 hours. So appreciate you guys. Crackle Nut says he is coming to the after party, so that should be fun. John could be the GM of the Moneyball Knicks.
Moneyball? I'm not cheap. Who the hell?
Yeah, I was to say we weren't really doing any. If we were cheap, we wouldn't have taken on that DeAndre Hunter contract.
Yeah, I'm not cheap.
Yes, sir. As I said, we love talking to you guys. As always, this is our longest show that we do, and we love it every single time. So peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool. Good night.